fate of humanity is at stake when two races of robots, the good Autobots and the villainous Decepticons, bring their war to Earth. The robots have the ability to change into different mechanical objects as they seek the key to ultimate power. But only a human youth, Sam Witwicky, can save the world from total destruction. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 2007's Transformers, directed by Michael Bay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Double Feature. Thank you so much for joining us as we are covering 2007's Transformers. I'm here with my main man, Colin, as always. Colin, what's happening, baby?
Hey, what's up, dude? How you doing?
I'm good. It's been we took a little bit of a hiatus.
Not long enough. So this movie,
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
We were just saying off mic, I'm like, all right, let me just bust out my old Michael Bay defending uniform and sit down and record this episode, and here we go. But no, I'm stoked to cover this movie with you. This has been a long time coming, actually. How many times in our little chat have I been like, I'm going to pull the trigger on Transformers. No, I'm going to pull the trigger on Transformers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's like taking yourself suicide and I have to walk you off the ledge. Like, Zoab, no, don't do that,
No!
Ted. Don't do that to yourself. More importantly, the people around you. I'm just kidding.
Mendoza! Now that we've lost all of our listeners.
Yeah.
Thank you again so much for joining us, guys. If this is your first time listening, what we're going to do is we're going to go through Michael Bay's Transformers. We're going to explicate our way through it. We're going to make jokes. We're going to have some laughs. We're going to dive into the ethereal meaning of this deep and layered film and motion picture.
Really into the minutia. I want to talk specifically about how the film is an allegory for the bombing of Hiroshima. It's really there. You just have to look. I don't know what to tell you.
Right. You see how Michael Bay films the sunset, right? It's very similar to the way that he films the curves of a woman's breast. You know, it looks like a sun. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. But like I said, man, if this is your first time joining us, we're going to go through this movie. We're going to swear. We're going to spoil it. I have seen the new film, Transformers Rise of the Beast, and I'm going to chat about it very briefly up front, and I'll try and keep as many spoilers out of it as possible. At one point, I will talk about spoilers, and but I will give you a warning, so that will give you some time to skip ahead, because there is something that I really want to chat about real quick. But
and I don't give a fuck. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even ask you if I could spoil it for you.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. So social media, guys, it's in the show notes. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can check out the show notes to find out where we are at. midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com. That's how you get in touch with us, or just message either of us on any social media platform. We're always game.
Mm-hmm.
But also our Patreon. Please support the show. Please help us keep the lights on here at Midnight Double Feature. It's no easy feat to host a podcast, much less one that's been running for over 5 years. And we rely on you guys to keep the show going. We've got a bunch of amazing patrons come through already, and they've been supporting the show for a long time, and we're very, very grateful for them. They get a whole bunch of bonus episodes and things like that. On those episodes, sometimes we talk about the movies that we've been watching, or what we've been doing. On this week's one, so we're gonna go ahead and record that right after this. It's an episode on the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, or as I like to call it, the movie that retired Sean Connery.
Yeah.
But on that movie, I also plan to just take a few minutes to just chat about some movies that we've been watching and stuff like that, and what we've been doing with our lives and stuff like that. So you kind of get that kind of peek in as well if you're just paying $5 a month to help support the show. And we're an independent podcast. We don't have any sponsorship or advertising at this point in time. So whatever you can do to help us out, that would be greatly appreciated. It's patreon.com/midnight double feature. And I'm sure any of our patrons can vouch for us. There is a huge backlog of 70 episodes that you can just dive into right now, just waiting for you for $5 a month.
Absolutely.
Patreon.com/midnight double feature. Do you have anything else to say, Colin, before we sort of like dive into the episode proper?
No, just thank you guys for listening. Like I said, we'll spoil this. Try not to get too much into spoilers on the new one, but you know me, I don't really care.
Right, exactly.
And stop by, rate, review the show, let us know how we're doing. It helps out a shit ton. And if you have, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
For sure. Thank you so much. And with that out of the way, let's get into this. So very quickly, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. I had picked this episode, Transformers 2007, to kind of like coincide with the release date of that. But that didn't really work out with our recording, so it's fine. It's fine. Rise of the Beast is pretty good. It's a lot of fun. I didn't particularly love Bumblebee. I just thought it was a little too sort of like kiddie. And I know that a lot of people really like that movie. But Rise of the Beast is a good blend between this like Michael Bay style and the new Bumblebee style. It's very competent. Like it's very cleverly made. The action is fantastic. The music's awesome. Like it's a very like aesthetically, like the style is very 1990s New York. Which is exactly what they're going for because that's the time period it's set. But it's like Biggie Smalls and Wu-Tang Clan, and the needle drops are awesome. Like it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. If you want to release your inner 12-year-old, definitely go check it out. The spoiler that I wanted to talk about, if you want to just jump ahead, maybe 30, 45 seconds, go for it. Right now, I'm just going to chat about this. The way the movie ends was like, I was like, holy shit, I haven't felt this way since fucking leaving Iron Man in 2008. Like, it was
what
like
the
a
fuck?
cliffhanger.
What did they do to you?
It was like a fucking cliffhanger. I don't know how this happened. But, okay, so these movies are prequels. So Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast are prequels to these movies.
Cool,
To this film. And that's been known for a long time. And what happens is, the kid in this one is he's trying to go for a job interview, like, but he doesn't make the job interview, right? Like the events of the movie happen, and they play out, whatever, the movie ends, and at the end he actually does go to this job interview, and he sits down with this guy, the guy from Man of Steel. He kind of works at like the Daily Planet. I forgot his name, unfortunately, but he's in a bunch of stuff. David Kelly is his name.
Is he kind of bald?
Yeah. You've definitely
okay.
seen him. House of Cards, whatever. Anyway, so I'm thinking that he's interviewing for Sector 7, which is obviously in this movie.
Right. Right.
And, like, they're like, yeah, we could really use your help. We could really use your friends' help. Like, obviously talking about the Autobots. And he, like, he gets up, goes into this factory, and there's all these, like, advanced weaponry, advanced, like vehicles and stuff. And he gives him a card, and he turns over the card, and it's like, it's the logo, and it says G.I. Joe. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What? That's kind of crazy. I mean, it's like the first person to put like chocolate and peanut butter together. It's like, what have you done? Yes, and then it's like, oh wait, no, that's actually delicious.
It makes total sense because they're both Mattel, and I know that they've been talking about these, like doing this crossover for a very long time.
Well, there's hints of that in this as well. I mean, it's basically Call of Duty the movie at some points. It's like, holy shit.
Well, the producer of this movie, the 2007 movie, wanted to make G.I. Joe, but it was too close to the invasion of Iraq, and they kind of like canned it for a bit. But man, I was absolutely blown away because I wasn't in a million years. I was not expecting that to happen. I have seen news articles, over the years, and I've always kind of like been like, oh, that's never going to happen. They're never going to cross those things over, whatever. And then I was just like, holy shit, here we fucking are, man. Like, I'm not fully invested in any of these. Like, it's not like fucking Nirvana to me or anything like that. But I'm just like, good for you guys. Like, good for
Mm-hmm.
fucking you guys, man. That's I don't know. I don't get surprised at the movies anymore, but man, that knocked my socks off.
No, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that definitely it definitely seems like a curveball. Like,
Right.
it's not something, like you said, if it's been talked about, I guess it's not totally out of left field. But for someone like me who does not watch these at all and doesn't pay attention to anything with those kind of movies, yeah, that would blow my fucking mind at the end of it. To see that, it's like Nick Fury walking out at the end and go, "I'd like to talk to you about joining Codename Kids Next Door." And you're like, wait, what? Like, the fuck?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I was struggling. I was trying to rack my brain and trying to remember the last time I'd been genuinely, like, kind of surprised at, and it wasn't even like a post credits. It was in the movie. Like, it was in the movie proper, because he turns over the card, says G.I. Joe, and then bang, cut to black and hypnotized by Biggie Smalls. And I'm just like, yes, let's go,
cool.
man.
That's cool.
Let's go.
I feel like, well, no, that's another conversation I'll end up having forever. I was going to say of these franchises kind of like merging now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, well, I will end up talking about that forever. Like the implications and the reasons and stuff.
Right,
that might be a good bonus episode, maybe.
Yeah. Let's table that for now. Let's,
Mhm.
you know what, I'm just gonna
jot that down. Put that down. Jamie, can you write that down?
Jamie, pull that shit up.
Jamie,
all right, here we
shit
go.
up.
Let's get into Transformers 2007 proper. I have some history with this movie, but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on this movie in particular, but also the wider franchise. Like, were you a big did you like the cartoons? Have you seen the 1984 film? What's your history with Transformers? Did you ever have the toys?
Oh, hell yeah. So I grew up watching not a little bit of like the original, like it came on one of my local channels, because we only had like 5 or 6 channels like growing up. So I know it came in on one of them and I watched a little bit of that, but I was a Beast Wars kid. Like that was my game. Like I loved Beast Wars and
the Maximals, baby.
Yeah, and Rat Trap and Cheetah. Is it Cheetar or Cheeto? Or I don't know what his name was.
Cheetah.
Cheetah. Yeah.
I just watched the new movie. Like he's in the new movie.
Okay, cool. And I like the whole thing of them being stranded on a planet, and it's not Earth. It's not like a city and futuristic. It's like very, it's like Crocodile Dundee. Like they just went the total opposite way with it. Like they're robots, but now it's like nature.
Don't
and
put
I'm
it
like,
in terms that I would understand. Crocodile Dundee. What?
I would love if you're watching this whole movie and the only person you understand is the blonde, and she's the only one making any fucking sense. I don't understand what these people are saying.
She's the one that I didn't need subtitles for.
Yeah. But I grew up watching the shit out of Beast Wars. I enjoyed that. There was a show that came out after Beast Wars that was a continuation, and they actually go back to Cybertron. I can't remember the name of the show though, but I remember kind of like enjoying that one. But I liked the Beast Wars, and then it just kind of like left my life after that. I think I played War for Cybertron. It was like an early Xbox 360 game. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But other than that, I pretty much have no relationship with it. I did see this one in theaters when it came out, which is probably surprising to a lot of people who know me and hear this. Like, wait, you actually went to the movies and you saw Transformers? Like, it's like, yes, I was 17 when it came out. And I went with some friends of mine or whatever. And I remember I definitely liked it more back then than I do now. Like I feel like some people go on and they talk about Transformers movies the same way people talk about like Nickelback and stuff. They consider it like lowbrow, common denominator kind of stuff. And to an extent, I wholeheartedly agree with that. But at the same time, like this is not a movie this was made for a younger kind of audience. And my eyes literally sometimes like watching these fights and stuff. I'm like, I can't really tell what the fuck is going on.
over.
Like
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
really hard. But I do enjoy the fact that they brought back like the original cast and that they actually stayed pretty true to like a lot of the mythology and lore. They didn't just say, well, no one's talked about this in 15 years. Let's just totally rewrite it and do what we want. Like there are aspects of it that I like. I like for the most part the design of the Autobots and stuff and the personalities that they have. But there's not a whole lot that I really enjoyed with this. There's really not a whole lot watching it that I was like, that I found super redeeming. And it's not one of those movies where you walk away and you're like, God, I just wanted to kill myself. You know, I'm not that bad, but it's definitely something that I missed the boat on like entirely. You know, that I was not in the age range for like when this came out. And as a 17-year-old in Tennessee, you think that would be right up my fucking alley. But it just like from what I'd grown up with, stylistically, I think Bumblebee looks cool. Like the first 5 minutes of Bumblebee is like, yeah, I can we watch that? That looks really fucking cool.
The old Chevy.
Yeah, and I like that kind of style. It's a little bit more flat and bland, but I think these are just too detailed. Where it's like I can't tell what the fuck is going on half the time.
That's a common complaint with these movies.
I will say though, you can't like as this movie goes on, you can't knock the cast. Where you're like, is that John Voight? Like, is that John Turturro? Like, is that Joan Cusack? No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, it gets in the sequels. It gets worse, man. Like Frances McDormand and like I'm talking.
Is
like
that
John
Lee
Malkovich.
Harvey Oswald?
Is that Jack Ruby? What's he doing to Lee Harvey Oswald?
No, yeah, I that's one thing is that it's a franchise that makes stars, and I really want to know how much John Voight got paid to be in this, because he didn't need the money. He's John Voight, so it's like, what in God's name, I always wonder what possesses an actor like John Voight or John Turturro to do like a movie like this, like just out of curiosity. Like maybe they're huge fans of the property, who fucking knows, but
yeah, maybe they just wanted to work with the guy who made Armageddon or something, like
right? Yeah. I think Shia LaBeouf is pretty charming as a leading man. I think his parents are fucking hilarious. Like I like his parents a lot, and now this time around they make me smile and make me laugh quite a bit. And I like the whole thing of Megatron being on ice for like 85 years. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like they've been here the whole time. But for the most part, it just really wasn't for me. And it's one of those movies where like I feel like sometimes people watch movies and it's just something that's not for them that they end up trying to seem like it's objectively bad. And like I am so guilty of that, because about halfway through this movie, I was like, if you put my hand on a table and smash it with a hammer and said I could go home, I might take that deal.
God!
I was like, but I was like, that's the thing is like I feel like people, you just realize where something is just not made for you. Like that I am not the person that I am not the kind of audience that this movie is trying to reach. And I feel like there's different, it's a movie made for a different audience. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think it to an extent the criticisms are valid, but at the same time, I feel like people watch these and they hold it up to the same thing as something like, the Pianist, and it's like, dude, this is not that kind of movie. It's a summer blockbuster fun.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Right. If you can look at it in that kind of scale and say, man, it's a popcorn flick, it's a fun movie, it's like, yeah, then I can kind of get behind it a little bit more. But I was expecting this to be a little bit better, to be 1,000% honest. I remember liking a little bit of it and like seeing it in theaters, and I was just kind of surprised by how like, oh man, it had a Small Soldiers kind of feel at times, like with the little thing running around Air Force One, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that.
I mean, the dad from Small Soldiers as well, right?
Or is that Phil Hartman?
No. Kevin Dunn is also the lead's dad.
Oh yeah, I think Phil Hartman's like the neighbor or something, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
for optimum reception.
All in all, like I didn't, it's not like I had a traded the 2 hours I watched it for something else, but it was definitely, for one thing, 2.5 hours is kind of insane, and I was like, that's nuts. I feel like that's a long time, especially for, there's probably a lot of kids and like a lot of, not 8, 9, 10, 11 year olds going to see it. How old were you when this came out?
I was 13 when I first saw this movie.
Right. Imagine
Like
13-year-old you.
directly in the bag for this movie.
Yeah. Imagine trying to sit in a theater for 2.5 hours, as like as a 9 or 10 or 11-year-old. It's like, holy shit. Like, that's got to be a fucking nightmare. Like, I never go to movies with my nieces or nephews anymore. So I'm like, oh, hell no. Like, I'm not putting myself through that. But it's just, it really wasn't for me. Like, and I feel like that's me being polite. I feel like it's like, objectively, it's just not a movie it's a movie that missed me entirely. But at the same time, like, there's some good performances. There's some really good action sequences and editing. Like, at some point, like, you just kind of have to be like, oh, obviously I don't like this movie. What about it do I like? Like, don't force it, but just like feel your hand over it and see what parts go warm. And I was like, I love a lot of the action scenes. The part where I think it's Starscream, the jet. Is that the jet one?
Yeah.
Dude, when he comes up
Over
that
the
bridge
dam?
and like,
Yeah.
and holds, or like
on.
or the first shot of Bumblebee and like Sam walking up and it's that big shot,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, that's, if you showed me a shot of that, I'd be like, oh, that's
Columbia
the first.
Broadcasting System, message from Starfleet, Captain.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like standing there and come on.
But the reason why I feel like I can be kinder to a movie like this is, like, when I was in second grade, I loved Michael Jai White's Spawn. I thought that was the best movie in the world. And it's like, and looking back on it now, it's awful. But I had a lot of fun watching it as a kid. And I try to, like, kind of put myself back there and not be such a cynical asshole. And I ended up enjoying it a little bit more. But about halfway through this, I was like, oh, I fucking hate him. But I ended up enjoying it more
That's
than
all
I
right,
thought I
because
would.
you can get me back next fortnight with a Stephen King pull.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll get you back with Another Man from Earth, and you're like, God damn it,
son of a bitch! You got our listeners too, or lack thereof, on that episode, because
yeah. I don't know, man. It did pretty good, surprising. I guess there's a lot of Man from Earth fans.
Said no one ever.
Said about 80 people. That's about it. But yeah, that's kind of my thing. I love the games. If you ever get the chance to play Transformers games, they're pretty fun, and they've got another one coming out soon. So I'm excited for that.
Well, that's a bummer. I thought you were higher on this movie.
Nah, not at all.
No. Okay, so like Jesus bearing the cross. I'm gonna carry this episode. Is it Jesus? No, he got fucking.
Yeah, no, you got it right. No,
did I get it right?
You got it right.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right, my religious references and all that shit. Man, okay, here we go. So, my brother and I in 2006 go to watch Mission Impossible 3, and at the start of at the beginning of Mission Impossible 3. There's a trailer, and it's a trailer for this, the very first teaser trailer, and it's literally just like a very small snippet, and it's just, Mars. You see the rover, and you just see like something approaching the rover. It's like in the movie, right? Like just the actual whatever that is, an Autobot.
I remembered this. Yeah.
And then it just cuts to black, and it's like Transformers, and then it gives you the date. And I was like, whoa, okay, all right, like that's cool. And then after Mission Impossible ends, we were in the food court with my dad, and my dad goes, man, how cool does the Transformers movie look? And I was like, oh, we just saw the ad for it, like it looks sick. And he's like, yeah, like the Transformers themselves look really cool. And I was like, but the trailer didn't show us any Transformers. Like, it was just like a shadow and like, just the Autobot grabbing the thing and it cuts
the
to black.
teaser, yeah.
Yeah, and Dad's like, no. They must have played like the old trailer because the new one shows you what they look like. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta check that out. And I remember going home and looking it up on the computer and seeing the first trailer for this. And I was like, I was 13. I think I was 12 at the time. And I was like injected into my veins. Like that is awesome, man. Like there is a minute and a half first trailer for this movie that is so well cut together. There's like barely any dialogue in it. It's, it's very ominous, and you get very quick glimpses at the Transformers, but it's like, oh my god, like that looks incredible. And like I said, man, I was absolutely in the bag for this movie. Like I was exactly at the right age at the right time.
Right.
And some movies just find you at the right time of your life. And I talked about it on Pirates of the Caribbean episode about that movie finding me at the right point in my life at that time. I was at the exact right age, liking the right things at the right time, and here I was in 2007. I was in eighth grade. Yeah, eighth grade, and I was like, I was balls deep in this movie, man. Like after this movie came out, I had the DVD. I wore the shit out of that DVD, man. Like like you could like.
I thought you were gonna say I wore the shit out of my stroke shirt.
No, like how the DVDs, like you'd pop them into your disc tray, and like sometimes they'd have scratches. This eventually ended up having scratches because I just ran through it too many times. And this was one of the first movies that I really dived into the special features about, and I just wanted to know everything about this movie. Growing up, I knew about the Transformers, but I never really dived into the cartoons as a kid. I was always fascinated with them, though. Like I was always fascinated with the ability for something to go from one form to another. My friend, like my cousin, always had a Transformer in his room, and every time I'd go over to his place, the first thing I would do is go to his room and play with the Transformer, and yeah, I don't know, I was just always fascinated by them. And then when the Transformers were put into this context, and I'm talking like this military-esque alien invasion style context that seems hyper realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Something so far away from what the cartoons were sort of like envisioning. Like this seems like well, it's produced by him, but like Spielberg by way of Michael Bay. Like like this is like you really in the first half hour or the first hour, you really get the sense of this alien invasion style thriller. Like if we are to take away the big action sequences and stuff like that, this is in the first hour a boy and his car kind of story. Like it's very sort of like bare bones, and it's very quaint, and I just really got attached to it, man. And by this point I had seen Holes and Disturbia, and I was very, very familiar with Shia LaBeouf, and this is honestly, no matter what you think of Shia LaBeouf, this is a star-making performance. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. He definitely broke and won some hearts in Transformers
100%.
for sure.
He is. I would say he's absolutely outstanding in this movie. Like he is.
You know what? I just realized my version of
please.
this is that hit me at the right age was Iron Giant. That's it. I was like, man, I don't have a Transformer. Yeah, dude, it's the Iron Giant. Ah, man, it's great. So good.
I really want to. I've always wanted to, man. I've always wanted to.
So good. So good.
Yeah, I love Brad Bird, man. But yeah, like I don't know, Shia LaBeouf just he's killing it in this movie. He's giving it 110%, and that's like it's all there. It's all on screen. Josh Duhamel, Tyrese Gibson, a baby-faced Megan Fox. Like, I mean,
yeah,
it's like all the ingredients are here.
And Shia LaBeouf is surprisingly funny. Like he's not, he's geeky and relatable, but then when push comes to shove, he has those remarks where he's like, no, I'm doing a book about brain damage due to football injuries. I'm like, that's fucking great. Right. Like that made me laugh. Like that was charming. Somebody who like, I don't want to cause shit, but if shit gets caused, I'll cause it back. Like, okay, cool. I kind of like that.
I like it too. And then, John Turturro and all that stuff. And yeah. So 2007 in my mind, very much like how in 1993 people talk about Jurassic Park and the rise of special effects in 1993 kind of taking a big turn. In my head, 2007 with Transformers is also that point. I had never
low point.
seen I had never seen effects like this in ever.
Mhm.
I've never seen special effects like this before.
The
Before
the
this
tr-
movie.
the transforming is excellent. Like when they actually
It,
go from
yeah,
from Autobot to car, I like that. Other than that, yeah, I'm not a huge fan. But those,
right.
it's seamless. Where you're like, I don't know where one ends and one begins. Like
Correct.
whatever,
Right. I mean, the year before this, you've got Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest, right, which also pulls off some pretty amazing special effects feats. Most notably with Davy Jones, like that
Oh
was a
yeah,
like he looks absolutely incredible even still to this day. But in my mind, man, like I think of Transformers because I'm just like I've never seen special effects like this before done on screen ever. And Michael Bay at this time is still very heavily into practical effects. There are some incredible practical effects in this movie. The
yeah. The
practical
little guy on
explosions.
Air Force One. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
some great spots.
Dude, Bone Crusher going through the fucking bus. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, this is we don't make movies like this anymore. We don't do like we don't do action movies like this anymore. This is like when he's filming this in Los Angeles, this is not a green screen set whatever. He's out there blowing shit up. Like, it's
Hmm.
I don't know, like you're either a Michael Bay guy or you aren't. I 100% am, but like you got to give the guy credit, man. Like he does shit practically as much as possible.
Right. Well, I feel like a lot of people, it's like what he might be lacking in a lot of like story and characters and stuff. Like he doesn't skimp on the meat and potatoes, what puts asses in seats and stuff. Like, and that's not a
Definitely.
bad thing either. Like he likes doing it and it makes money. Those two things are not, are not necessarily bad together. It's the quality of it is subject to the viewer, but like I feel like without a shadow of a doubt, the movie is entertaining, and like he's good at making them. Like he's good at those kind of those known for everybody always talked about like, oh, explosions. It's like, yeah, I mean that's true to an extent, but didn't Michael Bay also do Bad Boys?
He did do Bad Boys, yeah.
Fucking
So,
great movie.
dude,
I like the first Bad Boys a lot. Like, but
excuse me,
it's,
I'm finding this out for the first time in my life, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah,
What?
I like the first Bad Boys. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I vividly remember that black car on the runway at the end of the movie. Like I
The
vividly
Porsche,
remember
yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a fun movie. I like it.
yeah. Man, like, I love this movie. I without a just without any shame in my mind, in my voice, whatever. I absolutely adore this movie. I had a great time watching it again, and I was just like, because it had been a while since I revisited this, and I watched the sequel. The sequel has its own issues. Obviously, it was one of the ones that people point to for the writer's strike in 2008.
Revenge of the
Um,
Fallen.
yeah, and it's
Mm.
got quite a few issues, but in my mind, it's kind of enjoyable a little bit as well. It's a little bit of a guilty pleasure, but this one's just this one, like, it just has a sense of wonder about it in the beginning, and the arrival to Earth is absolutely incredible. Steve Jablonsky's score is fantastic. This is cinema, baby, as Martin Scorsese would say. This is cinema. What say we dive into this movie, man?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. So we kick off here in Qatar. Um, just again, I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we're covering this movie. By the way, I'm sorry. I'm so giddy. I'm excited. I'm excited. We get these two Ospreys. So Michael Bay. So at the time, this was the biggest involvement the U.S. military had in any motion picture.
Mm.
So they lent these Ospreys, they lent these helicopters, the F-22 Raptors. Even like you get a quick shot here as they land. You get a very quick shot of the stealth bomber, and I remember reading that they could only film the stealth bomber in a certain angle, at a certain angle. They couldn't show too much of it, or from a different angle. Like that's how strict the U.S. military was about this. Like they were like, nope, we can't let
Yeah,
you
it makes
film that.
sense.
But yeah, we meet this crew, led by Sergeant Lennox, What do you think about Josh Duhamel and Tyrese in this?
Tyrese, I can take or leave. I like. Is it Josh Duhamel?
Yeah, Duhamel.
Duhamel. Okay. Yeah, I like him and the stuff I've seen him pop up in. He was really good. The guy almost never plays a villain, and he's in 11/22/63 as a minor villain.
Yeah,
and he's
he is
fucking scary. He's good in it. But he, I like him. I feel like he usually turns in a pretty good performance.
Definitely. So we're gonna take this as a chunk. We'll call this a sock scent base attack, and let me tell you, man, this scene changed my life.
It's sad. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, watching this in the theater as a 13-year-old, I couldn't. Man, I don't know. It was heaven. Like the military speak. You got, dude, the guy giving the orders is Glenn Morshower. We've talked about him. He plays Overlord in Modern Warfare. Like, I mean, just
is he the new Colonel Shepard in the Modern Warfare 2? Did he take over that?
Oh,
or is that
yes,
a different actor?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, he took it over from Lance Henriksen, fucking bastard.
But I mean, yeah, like he scrambles these fighters to intercept this helicopter. MH-53 pilot, power down now. Have your crew step out. I hate the line, "Or we will kill you." Like, I mean, no general or whatever the fuck says that. That's weird. But yeah, Squawk Eye Dent. Like, I mean, like just the little military stuff I really enjoy. And my balls tingle a little bit when the fucking jets take off from the runway and they fly past the helicopter, man. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, I like the the kind of transformation of it. And you're like, what the fuck? But there's a feeling
the rotors
of like
stopping.
Yeah, there's a feeling of like Terminator 2, like with like the T-1000 being in the cockpit, like that kind of digital. The being able to tell it's a hologram, it's just a digital image, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, I guess. I mean, why not? Why couldn't they do that? But yeah, there's definitely parts of this that felt like that definitely felt like Super 8, but kind of like T2. Like there's this kind of like ET meets like Terminator. But I one thing I do like fully compliment the movie on is that they don't like blow their load right away. Like what, I don't know what Decepticon this is.
This is
Blackout, racist. Anyway,
Michael Bay's got those allegations too.
Trust me, I know. We call it a brownout, Zoheb. Thank you. But yeah, I like the fact that it's kind of it's kind of kept in shadow, like when it goes through the roof and takes that thing, and you don't really get a full good like eyeful until I'm done. No, until Bumblebee pops out. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Until he finishes.
Yeah. No, I like it because it just kind of hides the whatever we want to call them, Transformers, I guess. I like that, and it's just kind of like, what in God's name is this thing? And that's kind of what reminded me of Super 80s. I mean, I think eventually you get a decent look at it, but it's hidden pretty much the whole time.
It's obscured, yeah, definitely. Man, when this thing lands, the soldiers are like surrounding it. The transformation here is cool because you don't really get this kind of transformation in any of the other movies. It's very it's more deliberate. Like the stopping of the rotors go up and then it just kind of like slowly transforms. You don't really get that in
look at me,
movies.
Bitch.
Right, exactly. And then you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is crazy. And he stands himself up. One of the shots I absolutely love is this shot from like the kind of like the air traffic control tower as he like does that sort of like EMP burst, man. Like, oh
Did
Come
you ever
on.
play? It might have been Mech Warrior or Mech Assault. Mech Assault, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the second one was called like Lone Wolves or something. I
Yeah.
loved those games, but that
Dude.
was when you downed another mech, it would fall and it would have that white like
Yeah.
kind of, and that's exactly what it reminded me of.
That's
And I
how
was
you
like,
knew it
dude,
was about a self-destruct and you'd
yeah,
have to get
you had
away.
to get the
Yeah.
fuck away from that thing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love. I'm a huge fan of any kind of like mechanized suit kind of shit. Like that always gives me a big boner. Like I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Just the like the
Definitely,
robotic kind of walk.
Definitely.
Well, and I like the fact that he's not like Starscream or any. He's not this like doing acrobatics and
No.
flipping around. He's like just walking through here, just like heavy blasting. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like,
But like,
of all the scenes in this is my favorite scene from the movie. Is this beginning part, and this whole podcast is downhill from me.
turn out now. No, but I mean, like, the importance of this scene is to highlight the absolute devastation just one of these things can do, right?
Right.
Like this thing absolutely decimates this place, like absolutely wrecks it. Like, you know, like Tyrese is running through, they bomb the antenna farm, we're under attack, and you know, it's all going to shit. And then you kind of like find out that they're actually after something, right? Like he grabs the server and like they're actually like downloading all the files, and they'd had to sort of like cut the hard line to stop it from intercepting all of these files. And then you kind of like get this like really quick look at it, and off the back of him comes off this what we find out later to be Scorponok, kind of like this minion who burrows up into the ground. But man, like you know, him just kind of like walking through the airfield and blasting the Hercules, man. Like all these like these are giant aircraft. Like, you know.
Yeah. Did you ever play Titanfall?
Yes, I did. I love that game. And
Fun, man.
The second one especially. Yeah.
Dude, apparently the second one is kind of having a comeback right now, and I'm thinking about re-downloading it. So, yeah, if you do, let me know. I'm down. I want to play some.
It's an Xbox exclusive though, isn't it? I got rid of my Xbox.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah.
Poor you.
Yeah, I've fully shifted codes, shifted over. But then yeah, we kind of shift over a little bit. We're in the school, and we meet Sam Witwicky, right? He's given a show and tell. Right. He's given a show and tell. I love the teacher's already got like the stop sign like up.
Yeah. He looks like every, like, you know how many jobs Steve Carell put this guy out of, you know, like, you know how many times they're like, hey, Michael, it's your agent. They're going with Steve. God damn it.
So Sam's talking about his great-great-grandfather, Archibald Witwicky, who went into the Arctic shelf. He kind of like got trapped here, and he died down there. He's got his glasses. They've got their little markings on him, and I'll tell you what, man, it's really really interesting that we're covering two movies back to back starring Shia LaBeouf, and he talks about his great-great-grandfather's history because
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm sure the events of this movie took place because his great-great-grandfather didn't walk that old goddamn woman up that mountain
forever and all eternity.
Yeah,
such a good movie, such a good book,
such a great book, man. But I always remember, what would Jesus do? Would always get a laugh out of me.
Where he's like, I'm Jewish. No. Fuck.
I don't believe in the Christ.
Not to skip too far ahead, dude, and I'm not trying to skip us ahead, but Bernie Mac, holy shit.
Yes.
I forgot.
We're here. Let's talk about it.
Okay, I was so sad, but also like Bernie, man. I used to oh Lord, like I used to watch Bernie Mac show all the time. America, and he would come out and start talking. Oh, so good. Bad Santa, yeah, shit. He's in so many good movies, man. I forgot Friday. Like, oh my god, man. What a great career.
Absolute
and he was a great
legend.
stand-up too.
Absolute legend, man. But like he pops up for like 5 minutes in this movie, and he just, dude, he destroys, man. Like, hey, mommy, hey, that's my mommy. Oh, don't be like that. I'll bust your head, bitch.
Yeah, she's deaf, you know.
He's so good, man. But yeah, like even, you know, you kind of like even get chemistry between Sam and his dad as they drive through the fucking Porsche facility, man.
Oh, I laugh my ass. That's something I would absolutely do. I laugh my ass off at that.
It's so fucking good, man. Sorry, I'm just laughing at Bernie Mac's laugh as like he turns around and he's like, "Don't worry about her, she's deaf."
Have you ever seen Life, the Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence movie? It's got
No.
that's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. It's
Oh, yeah.
fucking hilarious. It's one of the greatest comedies ever made, and Bernie Mac's in it, and he plays an inmate called Jingling, and they're like, "What did I tell you about pitching wool on the job, Jingling, 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 Jingling?" Dude, he is so funny.
Oh my god, dude! Actually, I've been rewatching the Ocean's movies. He's so good in the Ocean's movies. Like,
I've never seen any of those.
You gotta check out at least 11. Ocean's 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's a fucking masterpiece, man. Like Steven Soderbergh cooked when he made those movies.
I do have a question though. So the whole reason. So I guess they need. Bumblebee finds Witwicky to get the glasses, right? I guess
Correct.
he just finds him because I guess I must have missed it where I was like, so he just happens to get this car and then he also has the glasses. I was like, oh no, the car kind of forces itself upon.
I don't think it's a coincidence.
No, it's definitely not. But I was watching this and I was like, wait, that's a great coincidence. Like, wait, no, he kind of forces his way in.
See, what you don't understand, Colin, is the screenplay for this movie is bulletproof.
Yeah.
And there's no holes in it. It's completely infallible. All right?
All things aside, the screenplay doesn't care about your feelings. No.
The paint is custom faded. Dude, it's so good. Like, come on, man! Just the little shots of him wiping the grease away from like the Autobot logo and stuff like that.
I loved that. I loved. I think my friend Aaron had one of these, but it was black. His was a 76 or something.
Nice.
But, I mean, rusted up and old, but had class. It had character, and I do really actually love that. I hate when Bumblebee changes to the newer Camaro, and I was like, oh,
the new Chevy.
Why? I was like, why? You looked great. It's that fucking car is an analogy for Megan Fox. We're like, no, don't do that.
Dude, it's so true, isn't it?
No.
It's like, oh,
Listen,
what are you? What are
it's
you?
your it's your body. It's your, obviously she's still an absolute smoke show, and I'm glad she's comfortable in her body. If you're asking my personal opinion, which is why I have a podcast, it's frightening. She scares me now, and I'm not saying that to be mean, but there are literally like somebody showed a picture of like her and MGK and Travis Barker and Kourtney Kardashian together, and it was like, why do these look like the people at the beginning of Blade? And I was like, yes, they do. And ever since then, they've kind of creeped me out. And everybody always talks about Megan Fox in this movie. I'm like, excuse me, can we talk about the blonde Australian woman who's
Rachel
incredibly oh my good God. I was like, please, I would shove Megan Fox down a flight of stairs to get to this chick. Get the fuck out of my way. I don't know. And I've never been a big Megan Fox fan, but she did kind of get a rough, I don't know. I feel like she got kind of a rough shot. Like, I know she got blacklisted for a while, and I think that people didn't really get, like, Jennifer's Body is actually a pretty good movie, and I don't think a lot of people got it. It was
big comeback for her right now, that movie.
Yeah. But at the same time, Michael Bay Hitler.
Yeah, right, exactly. She called him a Nazi.
That'll bite you in the fucking ass.
Yeah. I mean, like calling a high-powered director a Nazi.
Well, apparently, I guess what really toasted her buns was I think Spielberg is like an executive producer on this, and he was like, no. I was like, oh yeah, fuck, I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, there was some pretty powerful people working on this movie. I mean, it's a fucking $200 million budgeted movie in 2007.
Right.
I mean, that was a huge budget back then. But essentially, we see this is I really like this about this movie because we don't, a lot of alien invasion movies, we don't really get this kind of like big focus on the Pentagon and stuff like that. But like, this was the first movie that I remember watching that I was like, oh shit, like this is the Secretary of Defense given like a briefing and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is like, they're taking this like really, really seriously. This is what I really like about these movies. And whether or not it's accurate is completely up for debate. But Bumblebee, the Haley Steinfeld one, and this new one, Rise of the Beast, aliens come crashing down to Earth, and there's not even like a police response, right? And I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
what? No, that would not happen. Like, like what movie was it again? What was it? Independence Day, when like you get like the beginning of the movie is like just someone out in like bumfuck nowhere with a telescope, like seeing like fucking shit about to come like crashing down to
Mm-hmm.
Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, no, like what would happen is, the government would be able to see something on its way, right? And there will be some kind of response. And then you've kind of like got like a mechanized system that is physically attacking your soldiers and destroying your military installations. And then it's
Right,
like,
strategically doing it.
right, exactly, strategic. And then the next question becomes, we are under attack. And then it's like, by who? And I'm like, the logic of this movie, like the way they're kind of like doing it, is pretty well set up and pretty actually kind of realistic in my mind as to what would happen in a situation like this. And that makes this situation much more viable to me than, say, Transformers Rise of the Beast or Bumblebee.
I think I'm with you on like everybody's in the dark and nobody knows what's going on kind of thing until like Josh Duhamel pulls a gun on this guy and and it's like people just end up getting their way, even though it's like at one point Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, and it's like, okay, I get why you're down here and you're down here, and I was like, why are they down here? I don't understand. Why are you showing them Megatron? Like, they don't need to know that, and it's because movie, it doesn't really super bug me, but
I think we'll get to that when we get to it. They bring them there because of the cube. Megatron happens to be there because they've already captured him at that point, or he's already
right. But why
they built it around him or something. But
why are they showing? I'm just like, dude, this is a huge national like what the fuck, But there's I agree with you up until that point, but the beginning of this movie when everyone's just kind of like, the fact that so many people died just fighting a little robot that came off of that dude's back.
You're right.
Now imagine actually trying to fight that guy. Now imagine there's 100 of them, and it's like, oh my god, like it kind of exacerbates and multiplies that threat right off the rip. Where it's like, one little thing off of one bigger thing caused all of this trouble. Like, holy shit.
Definitely. But this is why you hire John Voight, right? Like, get up to do this speech. At 1900 hours local time yesterday, Soxen Forward Operations Base in Qatar was attacked. So far as we know, there were no survivors. The only lead we have is this sound. And I'm like, this is why you get John Voight, man. Like, like the delivery of this, like, come on. You're John Voight, But yeah, this sound was like etched in my head forever. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, like, that's cool. That's awesome.
What do you let me ask you, what do you think of Megan Fox's like character in this? Not to totally derail your thought, but we haven't really talked about her as like I mean, really the only female lead in the movie, one of the only females in the movie.
Surprisingly progressive is what I'm going to say. She has stuff to do, like, like more so than the sequel, because like in the sequel she's just kind of like being like pulled around and she's kind of really got like, no sense of place. But like in this, like when she, like powers up the fucking like the tow truck, and she's actually like physically helping out, and Bumblebee's like ripping ass, and I don't know. And then like at the beginning of this movie, like when she leaves the guy, like Trent or whatever his name is, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I kind of dig it. Like she's kind of like I don't know. She's got some agency in this movie, which I really like. She's kind of like she strikes me as like a tomboy, like in this movie and the sequel as well. And like when she takes the fucking screws to that little fucking transformer or whatever, like when they're up against the fence and all
is
that
she
stuff,
in the second one?
She is in the second one, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't absolutely like hate her. I think everybody has parts in this movie where it's like swing and a miss. Like there's just there's certain parts of every movie that's like that for me. But Besides obviously jokingly referring to her career and her image as a car, now there's something honestly to her that I do kind of like, because I think I mean, was she kind of she's kind of not an unknown, but I don't think she hadn't in Jennifer's Body. She wasn't in This Is 40
this was
yet.
her
Like,
first. This was her first motion, like her first movie. She
okay, then yeah. So
had
this
a
is what
very
made her.
quick glimpse in Bad Boys 2, but nothing, like no lines or anything like that. But yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think, for one thing, like when you talk about, like, especially at that time, like you couldn't go anywhere without seeing like Megan Fox stuff. Like it was absolutely insane. And I like her in like Jennifer's Body, and like I don't know, just random things. I see her. I saw her in a Simon Pegg movie, like How to Lose Friends and
Yeah.
Alienate People. I like her in that.
She's
plays
fucking
into-
hilarious, and This Is 40.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I like her. Like, I don't know if I love her character in this so much. Like, I feel like it's cliche to an extent, like, and I liked what you said, like when she's carrying around Bumblebee, and that there's actually some agency. But like, I hate in movies when they do this, when like she pops the hood, she wiggles a distributor cap, and then she's
Right.
like, "Yeah, I know a lot about cars," and then that's it, and that's the only, like, she hot wires a car at one point, and there's
Come
little
on,
things
Colin.
like
That's not what
sprinkled.
we're focusing on in that scene. Come on.
I know. Well, and that's the thing. It's like watching it now. It is like there's tasteful ways of doing things, and then there's Michael Bay's way of doing things. And I was like, dude, this is like Jessica Simpson, Dukes of Hazzard, like level of like, good God, man, like you are really like if I were a pancake, you would be drowning me in syrup right now. Like, holy hell.
I'm gonna say something, and I want you to infer what I mean from context. I was 13 when this movie came out.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, hey, I was 17. Like, I wasn't that far ahead of you.
No. I was 13 when this movie came out, and Megan Fox is in this movie looking like that.
Yeah.
Come on,
No,
man.
I feel you. I've always been behind, so I didn't hit puberty nor masturbate till I was 27. But
Just yesterday, in fact.
yeah, actually, I had a birthday last month. But no, I like her. There's some parts of her character that I don't love, but I think she gets a bad rap for, she's also acting against Jon Voight, and these really huge actors, and I think she's better than she's probably remembered, if that makes sense.
I think so. I think I think her and Sam are very charming in this movie. I mean, like, she doesn't really. Yeah, look, it's tough because these aren't really characters, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that kind of movie.
Right,
Sam
right.
is given some character, like that's actually kind of like really, really charming. Especially like in these opening minutes as he's kind of like driving her home and stuff like that, and like he's doing the fucking flexing with the disco ball. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he's incredibly charming in that dorky sort of way. This would never happen with these two, but I mean,
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's also watching. It's like I don't know anything about Sam other than Sam want car, Sam want girl. Like that's all I really know.
And he has a dog named
about him.
Mojo that he takes care of.
Right.
He's looking at his zits in the morning and stuff like that, and he's like, "Oh no, premature." Like, but like, man, like even like Bumblebee, like trying to be a wingman and stuff. Like, who's gonna take you home tonight? Like as like as he's trying to get the car like started, and yeah, it's incredibly charming, man. But yeah, so let's talk about this Air Force One. Hey, baby, can you wrangle me up some ding dongs, darling? Like, this is
Oh my god, yeah.
peak
There's
Bush moment.
There's subtlety, and then there's Michael Bay. You might as well be like, "Hey, we got any cottage cheese?" Like, this is another one of those parts that absolutely.
You tell Dick Cheney to get down here.
Yeah, you tell Dick it's his turn on the foosball table. No, This is one of those parts of the movie that absolutely infuriated me, where there's like a 4.5 foot tall robot walking around Air Force One, and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm reading a paper," and the other one's like, "I'm feeding a goldfish," and like everyone's doing something that I was like, "Oh, good Jesus God!"
Hey, Johnson, did you happen to see that little glint over there and that little moving thing over there?
It's like just shoots him in the head.
right, exactly. But yeah, man, like, what about you know what I couldn't get over?
Her eating the ring ding that fell on the floor.
Well, that
So
but
disgusting.
The Air Force staffed waitress, or what do you call it? Like steward? I'm just gonna call it steward because I don't know.
Waiter?
I don't know if you gender that. The Air Force employed steward who gets in the elevator, sees a CD player in the corner of the elevator, and does not raise an alarm as to why there's a CD player post 9/11.
Yeah, the CD player might as well be like, "I am not a bomb. I am not a bomb." I was like, "Oh," she's like, "Oh, I like the song."
Right, exactly. And then she puts it in the basement near the servers.
Yeah, yeah. There's some bafflingly just stupid shit in here that I'm like, okay, I just gotta go with it, man. Because part of your brain goes, "Oh, this is," but my brain feels like this is like a pre 9/11 movie, and then I'm like, "Oh no, wait. Oh. Like, I'm way off."
I'll tell you what, man. Like, but the aesthetic of it is awesome. Like Jablonski's score, like, you know, you kind of got that choir, like, got like, like the fucking background and shit, and I'm like, oh, come on, man, I'm in this, like, I'm in the cargo hold, clear, like, you know, like the breach. And, you know, you got Rachel Taylor's team, like, in the Pentagon, actually, like observing the breach going on, like they know that there's something happening, and like the aesthetic of it is awesome, but just the details of it are just like silly. Like, you know. But this, I don't even know what to call this thing. This little miniature transformer thing kind of like hacks into the servers, but is cut off midway through trying to find Sam. Identifies the eBay listing, identifies Ladies Man 217, right? But it manages to get out on the tarmac somehow, dude. As he's like skittering across the tarmac, he does this thing, and I'm just like, what? Like, he's holding up his hand against his face, like no one can see, and I'm just like,
again, like you said, like there does hit a point where my stupidity and frustration gets so high that I go, man, it's not that kind of movie, you know. It's a kid. Yes, that's the part where the kids go, ha ha ha.
This is what I'm talking about. I feel like there's this with these movies. There's a little bit of a tonal issue. Like Michael Bay is going for this deep militaristic action thriller. But then you get these moments of like silliness of like, hey, we're like, you know, don't forget that we're still a cartoon. The second one is very, very guilty of this. The second one is, you know, has these like over the top racial jokes and, you know, over sexualized stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, but Michael,
really low hanging fruit.
Right. But in that same movie, you have a military aircraft carrier going down like off the coast of France. Like, you know, like what is
what is
going on? Like, I don't understand. So yeah, like obviously there's tonal issues, but the movie's still perfect, so fuck you.
I think there's literally a part where the little mechanical asshole runs and gets in the cop car, and there is a dude in the background who is full on staring right at him. Like, I swear to God, there's somebody in the background staring at him.
He gets inside Barricade, which is a Decepticon, and man, I can tell you, I fucking loved Barricade when this movie came out. Like, I was like to the point of like I'd probably turn into a full-on conspiracy theorist as to where the fuck Barricade disappeared to at the end of this movie. Like, he is on the highway when Bone Crusher transforms and, you know, fucks up that bus, and he disappears for the rest of the movie. He doesn't show up at all until the third film.
I'll be honest, they get kind of hard to tell, especially Jazz. Like, I didn't know who Jazz was until the end when they were like, "Oh, Jazz sacrificed himself." So I was like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, okay, I guess."
But yeah, so what's her name again? Rachel Taylor's character,
Mhm.
Maggie.
Oh wow, weird. Her name is Rachel Taylor's character. That'd be so funny. You looking like, what weird.
Maggie just busts in on this like high level executives meeting, and is just like, "Hey, how about an organism?" Like,
Yeah. How about a living computer? And he's like, how about not?
yeah, right. What a weird leap, by the way. That is a that is a leap
Yeah.
for the ages. But I mean, these conversations kind of like give you some reverence as to how advanced, yeah, how advanced the Transformers are and how advanced these things are, because like, they're talking about like there is nothing on Earth this complex. Like, there is
Right.
nothing
Right.
like just in terms of like they're giving him some respect. Like, they're building up their reputation. Um which I really enjoy, because like once you get to like other things in this movie, you're just like, yeah, they're formidable. Like, not only are they talking about it, but they're actually showing it, and I'm just like, oh, all right. Like, I believe that these things are as advanced and capable as you say they are.
Right. Yeah. and I like the fact that it's not all just like a straight on physical assault. Like, they're also trying to attack them like on their own turf, and also intel. Like, wars are won through information.
Right. We did sort of go past Bumblebee sort of like driving off on his own sort of thing and calling the rest of the Transformers.
Hmm.
Like it's all funny hijink stuff. Sam like calling the police, and he's like, "Send everyone, the whole squad!" Like it's all great, and he gets chased by the Rottweilers and stuff like that. But like, there's no denying, man, like the sense of like wonder of like, holy shit, like when Sam sees Bumblebee stand up for the first time and he's like observing him, like calling the Autobots. It's like, that's fucking awesome, man. Like, like they take a beat and they're like, think about what this means to this kid. Think about what this means to this fucking kid who thought that this was his first car. I really dig it. I dig it a lot.
Yeah. I think they do a pretty good job with trying to keep that like sense of wonder, because it's all gonna be coming out of the jar by the end of this thing. Like, you're gonna see so much fucking wonder all over your face. Like, you're gonna love it.
All of your face, neck, and chest. So much wonder. Um, do you love? Do you love the kid trespassing on your property and the cop just immediately pulls a gun on him?
Oh my god,
Like
yeah. That
that's
blew
the
my
only
fucking
crime he
mind.
committed.
Oh wait, yeah, that's weird. I lost you there for a sec.
Yeah, we just lost comms, but we're still here. We're good.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck it. But yeah, I mean, like the cops just immediately raising a gun to Sam, and I'm just like, whoa, this is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
very
that blew my mind. Yeah. Be a
a
very
very
different
aggressive response.
yeah. They see like the like the little robot in his back pocket, and they end up shooting him. They're like, "Oh, we thought he had a gun."
I believe it. Yeah, Sam's got some like dirt and grime on his face. Maybe they thought it was black.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah, something a very different story if this were like a black kid. They'd be like, he's stealing, and just shoot him. It'd be funny if it wasn't true.
Ba-ba-ba-da.
Yeah,
um, but like, again, this is one of those like tonal things of like, Sam in the police station, and like you got this like detective being, tell me, kid, what do you got?
yeah.
Whippets, goofballs, little wowie sauce with the boys. Like, what?
Oh God, I hated this part. It's so dated. I was like,
Are
the
you
movie's
on drugs?
2.5 hours long. You start cutting some shit right about here. Like,
Right.
for the love of God.
But it's okay because we get probably what, in my opinion, is the best action sequence in the movie, which is the attack, the Scorponok attack. This is awesome, man. Like, this whole sequence starting over here in the desert in the White Sands. As you get like kind of like Scorponok sort of like underneath them, but like sneaking up on them, and then man, the shot of like the tail against the back of like Tyrese's head, and yeah, like even the soldiers' like reactions, like they're just like it's just screaming. It's just like whoa, like they can't even like piece together what they're seeing. Um, it's really really well done, and the first time you see Scorponok as the three soldiers are running like towards the camera, and you just see the thing just fucking burst out of the sand, and oh man, it's awesome. It's sick.
Yeah, I liked all this because again, it kind of shows you like the effort it takes just to take this little fucking thing down. You know,
right, exactly. It's sick. Like one thing that's like that really stuck out to me is like like when he comes out of the sand there, like the way they did that was like they had explosives, kind of like
hmm
sorry. So they had like carpet under the sand, and they had explosive rigged under the carpet, so it'll make that sort of like dull, like popping, like sound and look. And I'm just like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like they kind of like had like carpet under the sand, and I'm like, oh, that's like, I mean, again, just like real practical stuff that I really enjoyed.
yeah,
Um, but they kind of like find themselves in this like fucked up like little town, which gets even more fucked up because Scorponok goes on the absolute offensive here. This is an absolutely incredible sequence, man. Like Lennox is getting in touch with with base with the Air Force, and man, like they scramble these what are these, the warthogs, right? Like these warthogs, the A10s with the fucking
yeah,
Gatling guns, dude. Like you know what they sound like when you hear them fucking scream past. They sound awesome. And then, you got the AWACS plane like with the communications. It, the the guy holding him up with the gold package, like I just
oh
I
my
just
god.
need I just need one. I don't need two. Just one of those is fine. Like
hmm Well, and
um
there's something weird, like him and the teacher both are very similar. You both male, glasses, this
right.
nerdy kind of like appearance. And at one point, both caught kind of like picking their nose and flicking
Right.
something. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? And like, man, you're right. Okay, we get it. This
Right.
guy's, whatever.
Um
Um,
okay. A Tyrese moment that I really love in this movie is left cheek. Left cheek,
yeah,
left cheek, left cheek.
yeah. It's like
Um
it's so serious, but also so funny at the same time. Like, I like it.
But dude, if you watch it, if you watch these missiles that this thing is firing at this town, you see like background extras getting absolutely rocked.
Yeah, that one dude goes like, like he does like a full like 180 in like
He earned his
midair.
paycheck, man. Like he's holding a fucking AK, and he's just absolutely getting his shit pushed in.
Yeah.
But man, oh man. Call of Duty Modern Warfare had just come out, and I cannot tell you how awesome it was to see a AC-130 in film, because
Mm-hmm.
this
AC
thing,
130 inbound.
dude, enemy AC-130 in the air. Oh god, come
Mm-hmm.
on, man! Like
I hated that sound. It's traumatizing.
just like the droning, the
Yeah. And you're like, well, if I go outside, I'm fucking dead.
yep. This is so cool. I can watch this scene forever on repeat, on loop.
I also, not to interrupt your boner fest, but I can't, we cannot go by Linkin Park's like contribution to this movie. Like,
Oh yeah,
and obviously, the movie was going to be huge even without Linkin Park, but I can't think of this movie without thinking of what I
definitely,
done.
man.
That whole album is called Minutes to Midnight.
Yep.
And it was definitely, that's when like modern Linkin Park, like the last like 5 or 6 albums they put out really kind of started with that kind of sound. But Minutes to Midnight is great. Valentine's Day is a really good song. It has like Bleed It Out, like it has a lot of really good tracks on it.
Yeah. So this movie introduced me to Linkin Park. What I've done was incredible,
Hmm.
man. Like absolutely soundtracked my fucking early teens there. But
I
the
dude, New
sequel,
Divide.
New Divide, and New
So,
Divide is one of
yeah,
my favorite songs of all time, man. Like,
it's incredible. I like
yeah,
that. Yeah, but when like Danny is our resident, like huge Linkin Park
right.
head, but like New Divide, I probably find that in my ears at least once every 30 to
It's
60
always in
days.
my top
Somehow that
10.
song pops out.
It's
Yeah,
always in my top
it's
10.
so good. It's just
Um,
it's so powerful too. R.I.P. Chester. So sad.
R.I.P.
Miss
Chester.
that guy.
And what I love about the sequel is that it incorporates the guitar riffs from New Divide into its score. So like, you just hear like little inklings of like New Divide in that movie. And
Hmm.
Dark of the Moon, the third one, had Catalyst, which is also a really good song as well.
I don't remember that one. I
It's
don't
a good
remember that
song.
one.
It's a good song. But yeah, man, like what I've done in this movie is absolutely iconic.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man, like the AC-130 absolutely shreds this thing, but it goes to ground not before losing its tail. Um, and one thing I love about this movie is that they're actually able to figure out a way to actually hurt these things. They use these the shells from the AC-130. I think it's 105 millimeter, might be 140 millimeter saber rounds, and they're like, let's get those stocked up in every weapon that we're using. And that never comes up in any movie later. And I'm just like, I remember watching the sequel and being like, why are they not using the 140 millimeter saber rounds or whatever the fuck they used in the first one?
Yeah. That's
Um,
kind of yeah, it's kind of silly.
you guys figured out how to kill these things and then you just forgot. Okay. Um, but yeah, man, like they managed to get the survivors. Let's get those guys stateside right now. Just the shot of the helicopter with the orange flares, man. Like it's sick. It's awesome. Like the guy, Bay knows how to do visuals. Um, the guys getting in like on in the fucking airplanes on the tarmac and stuff like that. It's I love it so much. All right, Anthony Anderson is in this movie as well. Like talk about a stack cast. Like Anthony Anderson right now. He's he was always like a childhood favorite. Did you ever watch Kangaroo Jack?
No, I know that's the national film, but no, I haven't
Yes,
seen it.
yes, it is the national film. Don't talk shit about it. But yeah, he and Jerry O'Connell are in that movie. And Michael
Yeah.
Shannon of all people,
The
and Christopher Walken,
kangaroo ended up running for PM later on, right? I think that
and
was the
won,
case.
and won.
And won. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah,
Served 2 terms. For what I'm reading here,
yeah.
Wikipedia served 2 terms. Arrested for cocaine possession. Elected for a 3rd term.
Well,
Um,
you do what you can in office, and then sometimes
it's always
sometimes
the bad stuff they remember you for.
sometimes you find white powder in the White House, and you know,
um, but yeah,
topical.
that the thing I did like with the actual like shooting them with guns and stuff is that it's possible to kill it, but again, it's so much. It took so much to put that thing down. Like the EC-130, like you can only have so many of those, before they're also extremely easier for one of these things. Like Starscream just comes by and rips them all in half. It's
Right.
like, fuck, it's like you're made out of paper mache.
Right, exactly, man. Like you see how much firepower is used to destroy these things, and yeah, like I mean, sorry, I just the shot of the shot of Duhamel and Gibson as Gibson calls in the airstrike, man, like spooky 3-2, use 105 shells, bring the rain. I'm just like, yes, come on, let's go.
Yeah, there's a very Bad Boys 2 shot of like when he calls it in,
100%. And
and then it does the kind of like the tilt down zoom like kind
yeah,
of thing.
and you get the warthogs flying overhead, like right over them. Like it's yeah, man. I mean, no one does it like Bay. I'm sorry, no one does it like Bay. Like
For
composition, shit
better
like
and
that.
for worse.
Yeah, for better and for worse. But yeah, let's talk about this. So Bumblebee pretty much takes off on Sam. Sam gives chase on this bicycle. um dude, what looks like the most painful faceplant ever, as he just absolutely
Oh yeah.
smacks against the pavement. By the way, if you pause it, it's very obviously not Sam. It's so fucking funny.
Oh sure. Yeah.
And then we kind of get one of my favorite scenes in this entire movie. Barricade is absolutely terrifying. Like the aggression, like, you know, as
Hmm.
he kind of pulls up, like he's also um to punish and to enslave, like on the side of the car and stuff like
Yeah.
that, like, you know, little touches.
The, when I think of the Decepticons in this is usually what I think of is him. Are you ladies man 217? It's
Yes,
like, that's usually what I end up thinking of. But this
the
reminded
aggression,
me
like
weirdly of
he transforms and he does the fucking smash like right against his head. Ugh.
yeah. Well, in the black and white armor with the red eyes, like it's pretty cool. But this underpass made me think of Iron Man 2 when
Oh, he's flying
Rhodey's
through.
getting and he's getting followed by the drones and stuff. I was like, this is cool. But yeah, I enjoyed this. The only thing I don't know. I feel like the whole thing where it's like, oh, they've got to stay hidden and stuff, or it's like, oh, come on,
Right.
get the fuck out of here, dude. That's like you're triggering like a 2.5 earthquake right here. Just these
It's
two
Los
things
Angeles.
walking
It's
around.
fine. It's just another day.
Yeah. Like we don't even slow down for those anymore.
Right. But I mean, like, there are at least like 17 homeless people that have seen this thing. Right?
Yeah.
This.
Apparently, there's a whole like hobo city down there. So
Right, exactly. Um, but yeah, man, like this is. I love Bumblebee just screaming in, like he trips him over as he kind of like does the burnout, man. Like it's cool. It's cool. What song is this, by the way? That plays when they.
you know what? I'm gonna unmute my TV and I'll tell you. Hang on, real quick.
Yeah, as Barricade kind of like gives chase.
Oh, Pretty Handsome Awkward by The Used, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I think that's
Pretty
right.
handsome awkward, do you feel okay?
I say that. Yeah, I say that.
Forgot all
But
about them.
this is cool, man. Like, you know, like this is kind of like our first look at like Transformer on Transformer action, and
Fuck
it
yeah, it is.
yeah. Yeah. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. It'd be so funny if Transformers porno music was not techno.
It's just acoustic guitar.
Yeah. It's like harps being played.
Right.
No, I always said dubstep was like it sounded like Transformers having sex. The
Oh yeah.
like
Oh yeah. But yeah, Bumblebee manages to dispatch Barricade for now. And then we kind of we get that shot of Bumblebee on the hill, and it's awesome, man. Like the do we want to talk about the color palette of this movie as well? Um it's very like blue, industrial blue and oranges and
mhm.
stuff like that. And again, I hadn't seen that kind of sort of like color palette in a movie like this before. Because like when he stands up, you get like the lens flares and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, like it's there's definitely like a visual language to this movie.
Yeah, it's a strong use of like primary colors of like the good guys are red and blue and yellow, but the bad guys are purple and like black and white. Like I feel like they use primary colors like really visually you can tell. It also helps when you're selling toys, to
Right.
just have those two very visually distinctive kind of uh villains and heroes.
Right, definitely. But yeah, Bumblebee, like this is the first official meeting. You know, like the Bay's like cranking the fog machines like to 100. He's like, Get him out, get him out, let's go."
Yeah, this place just makes fog apparently.
Right. That's what they designed there, and that's what they manufacture their fog. But yeah, like, can you talk? And then you got XM satellite radio, Columbia broadcasting system, and he talks to the radio. Thank you. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. He does a clap. Like it's cool, man. But yeah, like this is just really this kicks off this really well done sequence of message from Starfleet Captain, like, like I'm from space, and then Sam and Michaela kind of like have this moment in so sounds so weird to say, but inside Bumblebee.
Yeah.
And then Bumblebee transforms into the modern Chevy, right?
Yeah.
In
Super disappointing.
that is what it is, but the moment is pretty cool. Like the dun dun dun, that song from fucking Kill Bill, by the way. Like that is actually from Kill Bill, which is wild.
Cool.
Wild.
Awesome. No. Product placement. That's all it feels
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
New.
It is
Ugh.
it is what it is. I don't bump up against it. I'm sorry. I just don't. I'm not
I
gonna go out and buy a Chevy now. Like, like I'm good.
Right. Yeah. No, I think I actually, one of my friends at work has one of these, a ZL1, and it is fucking righteous. Like,
Oh yeah.
when it's like, holy shit. Like, I've ridden in it. It's a bitch for me to ride in. I'm 6'4", like 280 pounds. It is a bitch to get in the seat.
Oh really? Is it tight? Is it like cramped or
Somewhat, like it's not a car that's it's got like the motorized reclining seats and stuff, and it's not something you can just crank the thing back and slide. Like it takes a minute, and I'm like,
oh.
I feel like I'm gonna break something in here. It's very delicate.
Let's talk about the arrival to Earth, which is also the name of one of the best scores on the soundtrack. Arrival to Earth. This is Steve Jablonsky.
Yeah, or as Will Smith would say, welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth with an F.
Welcome to Earth.
But this is awesome, man. Like the Transformers, like the Autobots arriving to Earth. One crashing down in a field. Like I love the one that goes through the fucking stadium, man. Like it's property damage to the up the ass, but it looks cool. The one kind of like crashing out like outside that restaurant, and you see it from like the people's perspective. And the one kind of like crashing in the little girl's pool.
Yeah.
Which is adorable, man. Excuse me, the Tooth Fairy. Like it's silly, but come on, man. Like it's some Spielberg wonder. Like like if you had to take a guess whether Spielberg had a fucking hand in this movie, this might be it here. Like this feels very Spielbergian. This arrival to Earth. By the way, Spielberg handpicked Michael Bay for this movie. Handpicked. Which is
That's
wild.
interesting.
Yeah. I kind of wonder why. I mean, like, I kind of wonder why Bay.
Yeah. Because I mean, 07, it's like
well, he'd done the Island. He'd done Bad Boys 1 and 2. He'd done The Rock. He'd done Armageddon.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, oh, because what was J.J. Abrams doing? He was doing Alias, right?
Abrams had just directed Mission Impossible 3, his first movie.
I don't know, man. J.J. Abrams Transformers. I think that'd be, definitely worth a watch. I would check it out.
Yeah, I'd like to see that for sure. But then, yeah, like you see all the Autobots like take their shapes, right? Like the Jazz turns into the Pontiac Solstice, Ratchet turns into the ambulance, Ironhide turns into the truck. I just love the guy coming out. Holy God, what happened to the pool? And then Optimus takes his shape as the truck, right? I mean, the iconic,
the big rig,
the iconic big rig. Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we kind of like get the briefing, right? Sam and Michaela meet the Autobots in this alleyway. We find out that they're after the Allspark, right? What do you think about this sort of like first meeting here?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it has to happen now. We're an hour into this movie. Like, this has to happen. It should have happened 10, 15 minutes ago, to be honest. But it feels a little bit rushed, where he's like, where he just kind of lays it all. We're from this planet, and we need this, and you have that, and we need. And it's like, wow, okay, wow, this is all happening, very quickly. And I think the characters are cool, but it's like you just get kind of introduced to them. Like I would much rather have seen them kind of like in battle and then kind of see their own like unique, like, oh, he's the tank and this one's like the quick fast one, and like Bumblebee's like the quick one, and then the other dude like does it. But it's like instead you just kind of get like told about him, because I don't really know when they actually fight next, but I feel like it's a minute. I feel like they have a fight, like you just basically get told all about them.
Yeah, the next
But
big action sequence is them escaping the Sector 7 people after the house.
right, yeah. So it's kind of like, oh shit, I kind of wish I'd seen something. But I don't hate it, but it is just like I don't want to say an exposition dump.
It is exposition-y, yeah. Like, I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's why we're here. Like, let's give some answers.
I don't hate it because it's like we're learning as our characters have. Well, there's no other way for them to learn this information. There's no other way for them to figure out, oh, they're from a planet called Cybertron and blah blah. And it's like, be reasonable. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess we're learning as they're learning.
Right.
I hate exposition when it's like everybody already knows, but they're just telling us because
right.
That's what I hate.
It's a very quick way to switch your audience off. Yeah, very quick way.
Right.
Yeah, but we learn about Megatron, right, and all that stuff, and we're gonna skip through a couple more of the human scenes. So, I mean, yeah, basically the military guys learn that the 105 shells actually hurt these things. They cut right through them pretty much because they're fucking on fire as you fire them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is
molten
cool.
lava.
Right. We did go past Anthony Anderson's character just getting arrested with his cousin.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. I like that. I mean,
lock it down.
Yeah. It's not particularly funny, but it's definitely him actually getting arrested and eating all of the donuts. And the second they walk in, he starts filling his guts. The line, one of the, if not the funniest line in this movie that is delivered so perfectly is, "Man, I'm still a virgin," and it is so funny. And I was like, that is downright hilarious.
Dude, I love. Don't talk to me, criminal.
Yeah. He is pretty. I kind of forgot about it after Scary Movie 3. I haven't really seen him in a shitload of stuff, but I know he's been working. I just haven't seen him.
By the way, if you look a photo of him up, he looks so regal these days. Like he's got like
he looks
awesome
great. He's lost a lot
shit.
of weight and stuff. Yeah, he looks good.
Great. He's mostly does Blackish now. That show.
Yeah. I need to get caught up on that.
Well, I mean, you're white, so I don't know if you'll. I don't know if you'll get the experience. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'll start my own show called White, and it's not called White. It's call it No.
I don't know if you're gonna get that past the FCC. This house scene goes for a very long time. I remember thinking about that as a kid. Like the Transformers kind of like in the neighborhood, like all the hijinks outside. We got a blown Transformer,
me, dude.
It goes for Christ. A long time.
You can't just turn into a fucking car and sit on the street. What is wrong with you?
Right.
Like it's like all of a sudden all the Transformers are autistic. And it's like, can you fucking sit down? Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. I remember as a kid,
like
even as a kid, I was switching off at this point. I was like, "What are we doing for so long?"
I hate hearing Optimus Prime be like, "All right, my bad," and I'm like, "Okay, dude, no, please don't do that." Like, that's not, to me. That's not, Optimus Prime is like not like. So, anyways, I told him that the Allspark was bussing, and he said, "For real."
I'll tell you what. There's a great moment where Sam's trying not to let his dad out, and he's kind of like he's pushing back on the door, and he's like, "Nope, I'll do that. I'll scrape up the yard, whatever." And he's like, and then he's like, "Sleep well, handsome man." And I'm just like, that works for me, man. All that stuff. Yeah, we're gonna skip right past this because this goes for a long time. By the way, this was so awkward all the time to watch with my dad because the "were you masturbating" like moment. I'm just like, oh my god, like what the fuck
yeah,
are we
that
doing?
would be awkward.
I mean, I had just started masturbating, so
Well, it's I guess I avoided that with my dad avoided that because he didn't spend any time with me. So no, I'm just I'm just kidding. Yeah, stuff like that came up, and it's just always like blinders. Like you just sit
Right.
there just tense for about 10 seconds, and then you're like,
literally.
all right, act like that didn't happen.
Well, I'd always be in charge of the remote, and the remote always had like a skip 15 seconds forward thing, so I just did that as she brought up masturbating. So I was like, "Yep, let's do that." And Dad would be like, "Oh, the CD's skipping." I'm like, "Yeah, that's it. It's got scratches on it."
Your dad's like, the CD skipping. Me masturbating always helps that. It's like, no, no.
Oh god. But yeah, so we meet Simmons, right? John Turturro is in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really Sector 7G, Homer Simpson.
Oh, nice.
That's it. That's his designation. I just realized that. Yeah, John Turturro. Again, it's like, maybe I'm just cynical, but it's like if I'm John Turturro, it's like maybe he's one of those actors like Walken. He just won't turn something down. But I'm just surprised to see him pop up in something like this, like Transformers. Like, is he in any of the other ones?
Yeah, he's in all of the other ones.
Wow, that is crazy to me.
I am talking, I think all of them except the fourth one. Yeah.
Man, I mean, good for him. Some people, they do these movies for their kids, or it's a paycheck, or maybe he just really likes Transformers.
Maybe he does. Maybe he had a great time working with Bay. And this is the only one that he's like somewhat competent in, because in the other one he's kind of like an idiot.
Really? Wow.
His character is not good in the second one. Like you see his bare ass in the second one.
Nice.
Well, it's not really. It's just burned into my brain. Lots of hair on that thing. But yeah, like they pretty much take them all into custody. Like they're all like whatever. Dude, I love the mum coming out with a baseball bat. They better get their hands off my bush. She's so fucking funny. But yeah, like they're in the car, like he's asking them all the questions about Ladies Man 217. This is a do whatever I want and get away with a badge, and hey, a little creepy towards the almost underage woman. You're a criminal.
Yeah, well, I would
like
definitely character-wise 100% underage, but like Lindsay said, we were watching this and she goes, he uses a training bra or push-up bra and then hot in the same fucking like argument. I was like, oh, that's gross.
Coming on a little strong here, Simmons. Yeah. We also find out that she stole cars with her father, which is interesting. But yeah, that's okay, because in a couple of seconds they're all going to suffer from blunt force trauma as they smash into Optimus Prime's leg.
Yeah, like he hits him and they just all go through the windshield. And it's like, yeah, it hit. Yeah, the SUV hit 80,000 tons of cybernite or whatever that metal is. It sent them fucking flying through the windshield.
These things are radioactive.
Yeah, that's what I said to Lynn. I was like, it'd be fucking so fucked up, but it'd just be like, oh yeah, after years of adventure, Sam Witwicky died at the age of 32 of like terminal full body cancer.
Yeah, right. His body was scanned pretty much at the same level of people who died at Chernobyl, essentially.
Yeah. Sam used to come in. We called him Nagasaki.
One thing I really like about the third one, actually, so they're actually hiding in Chernobyl, which is kind of cool because they kind of cover their sort of like tracks with the radiation. I thought that was a really cool touch. That third one's really good, by the way. I really enjoyed the third one. They do this thing where they sort of like it's so ballsy, but they do the space race. But like the reason for the space race is to recover a down sort of like ship in like on the moon. And yeah, it's cool. I love it. I don't know, just that revisionist history sort of shit. I really enjoy.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
There's a terrible looking JFK in that movie, by the way. But yeah, let's move on.
Well, he wasn't great looking to begin with. But
No.
doesn't help when you get shot in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. But yeah, but pretty much like they sort of like they chase the Transformers through the streets. And this ends with Bumblebee essentially being captured, right?
that sucked.
Yeah. It was a bummer to see, wasn't it? He's doing that like that sort of like whining noise. I'm like,
that wailing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was pretty brutal. I hated this.
Yeah, like thanks for killing my dog, guys. Like government.
Right, and it's not Jack or it's not Jazz. It's not any dipshit or whatever the other names of these things are. Like, it's not any of them. It's the only one that we've like emotionally connected to thus far. It's like, you manipulative motherfucker,
sons
man.
of bitches. And then we kind of get like a bit more exposition, right? Like Sector 7 pays a visit to the Secretary of Defense. Who, by the way, is being kept in the dark about Sector 7, about all of this. I would imagine that at least the Secretary of Defense knows, but whatever.
Right, you would think so. To me, this has hints of like, obviously, I think, did Michael Bay do Armageddon?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, obviously, I think that kid even makes that Armageddon joke when the pods are all landing. And but there's something about it as well, like Independence Day, of like how they kept the aliens from that definitely
the conspiratorial element of it all. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, so the Secretary of Defense tells them to get our word to Fleet Commander's National Guard shortwave radio channel, tell them to turn the ships around. Because we were essentially about to start World War III, inform all commands to prepare for imminent attack, and then we cut to Nellis Air Force Base. We get Lennox and Epps being called back into action. We need you to come with us right now. He fucking grabs their bags and shit. Don't touch my shit. Don't touch my shit, dude. But yeah, they're essentially all being chopped over to the Hoover Dam because the Hoover Dam was built to hide the cube.
Yeah, I that felt like a National Treasure plot line. I don't know. Like, there's something about that I was like, huh. I mean, it's cool, I guess. Like, I didn't see that coming, but the Eiffel Tower's there to hide Megatron's dick. And you're like, oh, all right, gotcha.
The Harbor Bridge is his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. I love this scene anyways because I'm a huge Fallout New Vegas fan. So I love anything about the Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam is a key like part of Fallout
cool.
New Vegas. Very, very, very cool game.
That's cool. Man, it's time for a new Fallout, I think. Are we getting any?
Oh God, yeah.
They're making Starfield, which is the big science fiction one.
They update 76 quite a bit, and 76 isn't as bad as...
I'm good.
Trust me, I know. I bought it, and I played it for about a day, and then quit, and then I went back and reinstalled it, and I was like, it's actually more fun than I remember. But 4 is still... That's the one that I think the last one that had my interest.
3 was epic. I loved 3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. New Vegas is just 3, but it takes place in the desert, and there's like gambling and shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. I just remember that side mission. No, it was a main mission of like you having to either destroy that town or save it, like let the nuke explode.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
Megaton.
Yeah, Megaton. That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Megaton, let's talk about Megatron.
Yeah, good segue.
Nice. Because we're under the Hoover Dam, and who's in this hangar? Fucking Megatron, dude.
So Megatron now makes me think of Family Guy when it's like, oh, Megan's short for and he fills out Megatron. On her. And here is your Family Guy reference.
Yep. Have to have one every episode. Essentially, everything was reverse engineered from Megatron.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like he gave us the blender, the iPod, the dildo, and we're like, oh, that's nice of
That
him.
pacemaker that's in your heart, John Voight, that was reverse engineered from Megatron.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank God Megatron landed here. How else would we have the Roomba?
if you watch this scene where Totoro is talking about NBE1, that's what we call it, whatever. It's kind of like a wide shot. If you watch if you watch John Voight in the background, he is so uninterested. He's kind of like walking
Yeah.
around
He's
doing
just
his
like,
own shit. He's like,
mhm.
this is nice. I was in Heat, god damn it.
Yeah. Right. I was in Deliverance. And the thing is, there's parts of like Megatron that I'm
I
like, I
birthed
mean,
Angelina Jolie. You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's parts of Megatron that like the wider shots, like it's digital, but then like there's
Yeah.
100% a
Yeah.
giant
Yeah.
robot out there. I don't think it's to the scale that they're portraying in that wide shot, but it's definitely still up there. But that's the yeah, I like the whole thing of like kind of Captain America hitting him. You know, I think that's kind of cool. Like the fact that this thing's been on ice the whole time. Like, um, and you know, I feel like a lot of movies might have held this punch until the second one, you know, that might have revealed later on, but they
It's a
kind
lot.
of
It's like it's a lot of movie. Like when you think about it, like a lot of
were
plot.
we have the this is kind of insane that I don't think I've ever seen this before in a movie we've covered where we're an hour and 40 into the movie and our main antagonist has just now been revealed
Yes.
and will not be awakened for probably another 20 minutes.
Yes.
And it's like, holy shit.
I remember this specifically in like I remember that feeling at the movies. I remember thinking, oh, we're not introduced like here's Megatron, who is supposedly the bad guy, coming into it very, very late into the movie. And I remember that being somewhat of a complaint in the movie. But here's the saving grace. When Megatron awakes, he fucking tears ass. Like he goes
Yeah.
ape shit. But I like this, man, because like they go into the other hangar and you know there's the cube. They believe that it fell there around 10,000 BC. President Hoover had the dam built around it. Which is, you know, it's so silly, but it's kind of cool at the same time. You know, you kind of like have to give it up. You're like, all right, man, like this is kind of cool.
Right.
And then that little fucking asshole, you know, spots the cube and calls in all the Decepticons, man. And I'll tell you what, I love the Decepticons mobilizing. I love it. Like
Mm-hmm.
fucking Starscream, like, you know, taking place as the F-22 Raptor, and you can bet, man, as a 13-year-old, I did my fucking research as a as a 13-year-old trying to figure out like what an F-22 does. Like this thing is by the way, Top Gun Maverick, they talk about these things called like fifth generation fighters, which are like so advanced and so like capable. The F-22 is a fifth generation fighter, and man, let me tell you, this thing can fire a missile like 200 miles away, like absolutely
Jesus.
decimate you. It is incredibly fast. It might be the most devastating piece of machinery that we own as humans. This thing is absolutely insane. Um, yeah, I love this thing. I love Starscream in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we get Bone Crusher kind of like coming up as this sort of like I don't know what he is. He's kind of like this big sort of like digger, like a construction machine. But yeah, Blackout Man, like fucking barricades on his way, and Devastator, that giant fucking steroided up tank.
Yeah. Sorry, I was I was just laughing at John Turturro going, Nokia, Japanese know the way of the samurai. He's like,
Nokia's from Finland.
I'll be honest, I didn't know Nokia was Finland. If you put a gun to my head, I probably would have said they were a Japanese phone company. But I mean, I guess that's racist. No, I probably would have guessed the same fucking thing.
I just love like them looking out at the cube and they're like, wait, you said the dam hides the energy of the cube. What kind of energy? Good question. Let me show you this one that I prepared earlier.
let me go ahead and put this right in your face and just beam it into your fucking open mouth. Yeah, that was crazy to
Johnson,
me. That it's like I would
bring him over to the exposition box.
Well, I love they go in there and they shut this thing, and there's like a dude in a full radon suit, like locks the door behind him, and you're like, I don't even have a condom on. Like, can I get a fucking helmet? Like, Jesus Christ.
If you have a look behind Simmons, there's a sign that says, "This laboratory has worked 322 days without a safety breach." and then there's all these like obviously like scratches and shit on the wall. I love like Anderson kind of coming in like, nah man, that's 3 scratches, that's Wolverine.
Yeah.
How did they contain that breach, by the way? Because this thing,
dude, yeah, you talking about the claw marks and stuff on the wall? Yeah, the first one I was like, oh wait, is that the little gnome, the little thing? Like, is that the did he get in there? And I was like, oh no, wait, these are the failed kind of.
Right.
That's terrifying. Yeah, it's the failed experiments.
Right, exactly. This thing goes absolutely apeshit, by the way, in the box. Like, fucking hell.
Yeah, that was fucking crazy. Like seeing the
his dick become the minigun.
Yeah, and like just bashing himself. There's something about someone bashing themselves up against glass or like a cage that like that kind of fucks with me. Where I'm like, holy shit! Like you were willing to harm yourself that much to get out.
Right. But man, Starscream rocks up and just does what he does best in this movie, is just fucking showing up for like a couple seconds at a time and just wrecking shit. Like as he flies through under that sort of like bridge, and he destroys the fucking power sort of like center, and like they lose power, which means they lose power to NBE1, which means get the fuck out. I love that really quick wide shot of these two guys, like one just drops the clipboard and it runs off.
Yeah. These guys have no idea what's going on underneath them.
Right. But yeah, hey, let's take the cube that all of these dangerous aliens are after and hide it in the most populated place on the planet. That's a great idea.
They're in China?
Well, not really. They're in the most populated place that we can get to.
Right, yeah.
Why? What? Who made that decision?
Yeah, that's the problem with I feel like a lot of these movies now is like at least some of them, like Batman versus Superman, when they fight Apocalypse, there's actually kind of like oh yeah, we went to the docks because there's nobody there, and I was like, well, at least they covered it, at least they talked about that. Like I hate like the like 2012 Avengers, the first one. I love that movie, but it's like I was like, how many people died in the invasion of New York? And it's like 4. I was like, I don't fucking think so. I killed 4 people on the way to read that article. I don't think just 4 people died.
That's the thing with the MCU though. Like they're able to place greater importance on that later. So like, in Spider-Man with like damage control and stuff like that, and then they use that as part of the Accords, right? Like one of the reasons that they should be signing the Accords is because of the devastation to New York. So like that's the thing with like the MCU. They can do that. In this, why is Lennox being like, hey, let's take the cube, we need to hide it in the city? What?
Which one's Linux?
Josh Duhamel, the main
right. I mean, I know they're talking about trying to hide it to hide from like the levels of radiation and stuff, but it's like I mean, they found it through 4 football fields of concrete. Right. Like, I know that the thing relayed the message, but like, I just don't feel like that. I feel like the best place you could probably take it is like underwater. Right. Like go to the fucking Marianas Trench with it or something, dude. And I hate this like transition of power that he just pulls out a gun and it's like, no, we're taking over. And it's like, dude, this is a form of government that was so secret that nobody in this room even knew that it existed. You won't like you'll be dead tomorrow. You'll be dead. Just get ready. You'll be dead. No, you'll basically be like you never existed. It's like they wiped Josh Duhamel from the planet.
I do. The only thing that works in its favor is Sam kind of wielding his power, being like, this is not gonna happen without me, because like I'm the kind of like,
Also, why do they need Sam?
well, he kind of communicates with the Autobots and stuff like that, right? I mean, like he's kind of like the like, I don't know. I buy that. I do buy that. I do buy that.
Oh, sorry, I was tuning something. What were you saying? Just me tuning one of those, like, bitch, oh.
From Scary Movie 4.
Yeah. 3, thank you. Oh,
3.
I laughed
Yes.
and I gave myself a cramp.
Dude, I love Bumblebee being let go, and he kind of brings down the face shield, dude. Oh, come on.
Dude, bone, yeah. Anytime that happens, I'm always like,
yeah.
It's
sick.
so good.
It's sick. But yeah, they can't make a stand without the Air Force, right? And you're telling me that no one can get in touch with the Air Force? None of these military guys have any kind of like radio or some kind of something to get in touch with the Air Force? Like all of your, like I get that all of your power is wiped out and you're unable to. I don't know. But yeah, let's use this old CB radio down here in the Hoover Dam. No one's gonna go ahead and authenticate it from the Air Force, by the way. Like, why are we getting a call from the Hoover Dam?
Yeah, well, and it's also, imagine explaining, like, yeah, I'm part of a shadow organization here called Sector 7, and it's like, are you talking about the one from The Simpsons, sir? Because that sounds kind of made up.
Right. Megatron breaking out of the ice, man. Like, I mean, it's sick. It's sick.
Yeah.
It's terrible dialogue, but it's very of its you know, of the moment. It's when he breaks out, he's like, I am Megatron, and I'm like, come on, man. Like that's the cartoon, right? That's the cartoon coming through.
Oh, dude, there's a part towards the end of this movie when he lands, and as he lands, he goes Megatron, and I was like, oh god,
right.
I was like, this guy says his own name when he lands. Like,
Hugo
Jesus
Weaving,
Christ.
by the way.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was Hugo Weaving.
Yeah. Apparently, I was doing a bit of reading. Michael Bay didn't like the voice of Frank Welker, who did the original Megatron, and it's like, okay, but I mean, come on, man, you could have kept the original guy. Like, you kept Peter Cullen, you know, like,
right? Yeah, yeah. That's kind of crazy. I don't know. I've never heard it though. It could be like, "Hi, my name is Megatron." It's like, for all I know,
no. He sounds cool, man. He sounds like Megatron, like what you'd expect Megatron to sound like. He turns into that fucking interstellar fucking spaceship, dude. Like that vehicle. I don't know what Megatron is, but
oh yeah. At first, I thought it was a fighter jet, and I was like, well, no, he hasn't seen one of those yet.
He flies off down that tunnel, and he turns into that thing, and I'm just like, fuck, that is cool.
Yeah, he's like a Starfleet ship or something.
Right. We can take this last half hour as a big sort of chunk, right? So like,
why not? That's when I turned my TV off. Yeah, let's go for it.
I hate you so much. This was the action scene of action sequences, dude. Like, I feel like it's very well structured and very well broken up into its own sort of like little segments, little portions. But essentially, yeah, like the three guys, so Simmons, Maggie, and the fucking Secretary of Defense. I feel like I'm describing a dream that I had.
Right, yeah. It sounds like someone who was dreaming on acid or something. Right.
They're being like kind of like sieged by the little shit, as they call in the Air Force, which they eventually do. But yeah, they get to the city, and on the way, man, Optimus just gets absolutely wrecked by fucking Bone Crusher. But dude,
I do laugh that Bone Crusher is a roller skater. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, what the fuck is up with that, man?
Yeah.
But again, like you gotta tip your hat to Bay's commitment to practical effects, man. These are actual cars being thrown around on this fucking highway.
These are actual Transformers fighting on
right.
Yeah, I do. One of the additions I love, and I don't know, maybe this is something from the original, is Optimus's sword arm that comes out, and I'm like, dude, Boners for day. I love that. I think Spawn had something similar that came out of like his hand, and I just thought that's so fucking cool. But one of the design things that absolutely drives me crazy about Optimus Prime is like, please keep the mouth plate up the whole time.
Right, yeah.
Like, dude, he looks so stupid. Like, why would you have lips?
Yeah,
it doesn't even make sense. Like,
to kiss people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do love a good aluminum mouth.
Come here.
Yeah. Sam, I have yet to experience love. But no, I like the design of them, but they're kind of weird. Like they're tall and kind of like, I don't know. I expected them to be more bulky, like the one that Optimus kills right here. I can't remember his name.
Bone Crusher.
Bone Crusher. Yeah, I expected them to be all kind of like around that size, but yeah, some of them are kind of like lanky, and some of them are short. It's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like Jazz is tiny compared to the rest of them. Yeah,
even Bumblebee, he's kind of a smaller guy.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, he fucking dispatches Bone Crusher in a fucking violent way. By the way, like Optimus is violent. One thing I really like about these movies is when it kind of slows down and its use of slow motion. It's not like Zack Snyder 300 level slow motion, but like when they do slow the action down, there's a great moment with Ironhide a bit later in the city when like they're firing, like Devastator's firing his like missiles, and Ironhide's like jumping over using his cannons and stuff.
I was like, yeah,
it's sick, man.
I did like that.
It's sick. Come on. Where's the 13-year-old? Come on, let's go.
I like. There's parts of it that I like.
Put butter in my popcorn. God damn it! Fill up my Coke.
Yeah. Where's my fucking milk duds? No, there's parts of it that I do like. Like I like the design, especially of like the bigger and the bulkier ones. But like, I think where this fails in kind of like separating all of the Autobots to like it. If I see one, it takes me a second to go like, which one is that? I can't remember.
Yeah,
it's something that like small soldiers killed, where it was like everybody was their own kind of, except for maybe like the. Not the Gorgonites. What is the other
Commando Elites?
Commando Elites. Some of them are kind of samey, but like the Gorgonites are like, man, those guys are total. Each one of those is very unique and super different. Yeah. But I enjoy a lot of these kind of fights. I like seeing Josh Duhamel slide under him. It's ridiculous, of course, but him sliding under him with that grenade launcher and the sound he made, I was like, that feels pretty real. You know, he must have felt like a badass after that or something. You know, he was really selling it.
Like, come on, man. Like, I love the reverence they give Starscream as well. Like when he's kind of like flying over the city, and you know, as they enter the city, you get like they think it's the Air Force, and I just love like the tension building up. Like Epps is like, no, that like something's wrong here, like something's up, and yeah, man, like Ironhide being like, it's Starscream, and they fucking get up, like they get the truck, they tell everyone to back up, and they just know that something's coming, and man, Starscream just absolutely lets loose. Oh, I love it. Every time Starscream shows up in this movie, he just absolutely kicks ass.
Yeah, well, I think he was also like a next to Megatron. I think probably the most well known.
He's the minion, right? Like the Megatron.
I believe so.
I'm sorry, sire. Yeah. Like, you know, like.
Yeah, I think that's him.
But yeah, like I mean, this pretty much everyone in the city dies. Like, I mean, if you're working that day, sorry, you're dead. There's a moment where Optimus and Megatron are just like, you know, they kind of like get into a grapple, and Megatron kind of like uses his like thrusters to fucking thrust them into a building. And like you just see them like in profile going through this building, and I'm just like,
yeah, dude, you can see the people dodging out of the way, and it's like, yeah, watching it, it's like, there's no way you probably just killed 400 people going through that building, you know, like that's insane, dude. It's fucking Tuesday at like 2 p.m. Everybody's at work right now. Like,
but
what are you
Colin,
doing?
We saved humanity.
Yeah. Well, that's what fucking kills me. Like at some point in this movie, you know, the thing is like, there's a believable, when the fight first breaks out, there's a believable where it's like, you see the people scattering and then they're gone. And then it's kind of like, okay, almost, I know that you're trying to make me believe the city is empty. Okay, whatever. I'll go there with you. But then there's another part of me that, like, every 10 minutes in this fight, there's just random people running in the background. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Jesus Christ. Imagine on, the Oklahoma City bombing and someone's just running into the building. It's like, what are you fucking doing, man?
I'll tell you
this
what,
is insane.
It is absolutely ridiculous, but I'm not gonna lie. As a 13-year-old, that kind of like really added a lot of weight for me.
Sure.
Like in terms of just like, oh shit, man, like people are caught up in this. Like the military have rocked up. Like this is a situation, as you're watching this as a kid, like you're just like, well, you don't see this a lot. Like people actually caught in the crossfire. It gives it some stakes. It gives it some weight. And it gives it some kind of meaning, like that this is like taking place in a city and, like people are dying, and there is like there is some meaning to what Sam is doing here.
Sure, yeah, 100%. And like I like it. I just feel like
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, go into a packed restaurant and just yell gun or bomb and see how fast it clears out, and like have this going on in the street. No one will live in this city for a year,
right?
Like, fuck that.
Hey, Blackout, can you lend us some help here? The military kind of fucking us up. Can you do that sonic boom thing that you did at the start of the movie? Because I mean, that would come in clutch right now.
I can't. It's a union thing.
oh, that's okay. That's all right. Maybe that thing that you're doing when you destroy those C-130 Hercules planes. Can you pull one of those out again, or?
Hard to get up sometimes. Takes effort.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, there's a little guy in between your legs right now firing up a gun. You're dead? Oh, okay, cool. No worries.
Pre-com.
Oh, but that's okay. You were using your rotor blade as your...
All right, I'm running out of robot jokes here. I'm pushing my left.
But that's what I'm saying, man. Like they made Blackout so powerful at the beginning, and then he's just so like nerfed here. Like I'm just like, oh, it's okay, all right.
Yeah, that is kind of like disappointing. Oh, I forgot. Is that Paris? No, okay, that's not Paris Hilton.
No,
I thought that was her. No. Sorry. That girl gets attacked, and that dude gets attacked by the Xbox. I forgot all about that. I must have skipped this part.
Yeah. Blackout. Okay, I get it. It's a coordinated like airstrike as well, and what?
Blackout. We need to talk to you about your alcohol. It's not a problem.
That's why they call me Blackout.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it's like. Blackout. Your name promotes a unhealthy lifestyle
and casual racism.
yeah.
Oh, man, when there's a moment here when Starscream lands, and he lands in slow motion, and these cars just absolutely go flying, and Sam's like carrying the cube, so we're kind of like seeing everything from his perspective, and then all the sound just drops out, and you got like Ironhead just like, and I'm like, oh, okay, like come on, man, like that's sick, like when Sam gets caught up on the rooftop here, he's given like the cube to like the I guess like the Air Force pilot or whatever, like whoever's in the Black Hawk, and Megatron shows up. Sam gets caught on like this like sort of like statue on like the edge of this building, and Megatron uses his sort of like mace swinging chain thing to get Sam off, which sounds weird. But when he swings the thing, the building explodes, and I'm like, what? Why does the building explode?
Oh God, why did we put all of our spare gasoline in there?
Ah, Jesus. All right, let's close this thing out. So the Decepticons, one by one, kind of like start getting dispatched. Like, the airstrike takes out Blackout. Devastator got fucked up by Ironhide and Jazz earlier. Jazz takes a fucking beating and gets ripped apart by Megatron.
Yeah. And they are so weirdly like, yeah,
chill.
That happened, but it's all good
Right.
because we're a family
Just
or
one,
something.
just one 80-yard line by Optimus would have been nice. This is for Jazz. Like, come on, like,
Right,
you know,
yeah. Like, he's like, we've lost friends, but we made new ones as well. And it's like, okay,
Oh.
can we bury this guy first?
Cool. And Sam defeats Megatron by putting the Allspark up against his chest, right? Which,
Yeah.
at the time, as a kid, didn't make sense to me, but that makes sense, I guess. Is this kind of like an Ark of the Covenant thing? Like,
Yeah, I guess it kind of is. Got what ended up getting what
Right.
you wanted, but bit off more than you could chew, kind of thing.
It's another great movie that you didn't like. Tell us about that one, Colin.
I didn't say I didn't like it. You're making stuff up.
We have files. We have recordings, sir. But yeah, so what happens? Sam. Oh, by the way, I love that they take all the remnants to the Laurentian abyss just to fucking crush them, like in the fucking ocean. And then Sam gets
that won't come back to bite him in the ass.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a full-on like revival scene in the second one. Yeah, Sam gets the girl, and you know, we are Autobots. We are here. We are home. What I've done. It's honestly,
yeah,
it's a cool fucking cut to credits moment. Like, I mean, it's one of my favorite like cut to credits. It's sick. I left it on. I left the credits rolling. You know, yeah, that's Transformers, baby. Transformers 2007. Tortured Colin. He's battered and bruised. He's got some blood on him, but he's alive. How you doing, Colin?
Yeah, I'm good. These are always the kind of movies that are. I know if I don't enjoy watching it, I'll have more fun probably talking about it.
And you're like,
which is always
you're like, and that was not the case this time around. Bye.
yeah. That did not happen this time. But why don't we do final thoughts? Comments.
Let's do comments and then final thoughts. We've got a bunch of comments for this one. So thank you to everyone who participated over the month-long hype for this episode. Give me 1 sec, I'll bring it up. Okay. Do you have some comments up or?
Yeah. I've got Danielle Kutta.
Cool. Awesome. Go for it.
Green Remember. Thank you, Danielle. I really like the first two Transformers movies, even though I don't necessarily love Bay as a filmmaker. I think Megan Fox is the best part about them. I like the energy she brings, and I think she's charming as hell as the bad girl, quote unquote. The movies go downhill from here, at least for me. Now League of that's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. We'll have to wait on that and wait for our bonus episode.
Nice. I'm gonna go ahead and read Nathan Burkhart. He says Transformers didn't need sequels. It was fun. It was well written, action packed. It could stand alone. Completely agree. I'm going to go ahead and read Jose. He says, I wanted to like Transformers. It was a part of my childhood in the 80s, but this movie wasn't great. The movie is too long. I don't care about human characters, and the designs of the Autobots and Decepticons are over-designed and ugly. The fight scenes are hard to see. You want to know what it's like to watch a Michael Bay Transformers battle? Get all the silverware you have, put it in a dryer, and run it. Then place your face directly on the glass. All that moving metal that's right in your face, that's a Michael Bay Transformers fight scene. I wish I could say this series got better over time, but they only got longer and worse. Thank God for that Bumblebee movie, though. Jose, we are on two different islands here, man. I'm sorry, because I've only seen that Bumblebee movie once, and I liked the Transformers stuff. It actually has the best opening 15 minutes of any Transformers movie. It opens in Cybertron. Like, the battle for Cybertron is all like, you know, it's really well realized.
Yeah.
And it has an opening, like, when they come to Earth, like there's an opening fight scene on Earth that's really, really fantastic. But after that opening first 15 minutes, I just can't get on board. I don't love Haley Steinfeld's character. I don't like how um kidded, like childlike it is. I know that's exactly what they're going for, but it seems like they got rid of the teeth from these movies that I kind of like
Mm.
got attached to. I don't know. That works for some people. It didn't work for me. Do you have any more comments pulled up, or do you want me to read the rest?
Yeah, no, I've got Jason Tick
Nice.
pulled up. Jason, thank you for commenting. I remember seeing Transformers when it came out around July 4th, all those years back. I liked Transformers as a kid, but almost forgot about them. I was like, well, let me check out this bullshit. And I was floored. Like, goddamn, that was fun as fuck. Completely refired up my love for the franchise, and I was buying old toys again. So while it was a super fun movie, I loved in hindsight because fuck it, it got me wasting money.
Hell yeah, Jason. Um, Let me see. Patrick Harrington, baby. He says, I
Nice.
still really love this first Transformers. It takes me back to my childhood of watching the show and the 86 animated movie. I'm not the biggest fan of all the human stuff, but it's all right most of the time. Seeing Optimus Prime on screen and transforming for the first time is still a magical moment for me. Yeah, man. When he kind of like comes up out of this alleyway and into this like sort of main fight here, it's sick. It's honestly sick. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Patrick continues. Then the sequels happened. Thankfully, the last two movies, Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast, have delivered and set the franchise back on track. Craig Dealey says Transformers completely daft. Shia LaBeouf is a rather odd person. He's so British, dude. Craig
I
Dealey
love
is
it.
completely daft. Oh, that's Irish. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf is a rather odd person, but I think he does quite all right in this. Again, definitely worth a watch, or several in my case. My youngest really liked it, so the DVD was on a few times. Yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for commenting, guys. Really appreciate it. That was awesome.
Yeah.
What a great
Seems
turnout.
like everybody liked this movie but me.
Yeah, you're a
Well, on
fuckwit.
Jose.
Anyways, I'm kidding. No, man. Like I had a feeling that you would. Like, look, it's not your type of movie. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't. Like I said, it didn't hit you at the right time, like it did me. Yeah, like I was in the exact right spot that they were hoping. You know.
Mm-hmm.
What do you love? What are you smiling about?
I was like, yeah, I was too old for this movie. I had acquired taste by then and standards. Sorry, I had to.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, man. I don't know. I just as action filmmaking goes, there's no like there's no better than Michael Bay in my mind.
I think he's the gold standard, but I think there are better at like action
Yeah,
stuff.
no, look,
But I think
there are 100% better action films, right? Absolutely. Like, I mean, take the scene from fucking Heat,
John Wick.
right? John Wick.
Yeah.
But the guy has an aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
For better and for worse. Yeah.
exactly, and it's beautiful. Like whether you like it or not, it's kind of gorgeous.
Yeah, it does pop. It pops.
Like you know when
regardless.
you're watching a Michael Bay movie, and you know when you're watching a Michael Bay ripoff.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly I give the guy credit because I watched Ambulance that came out a couple years ago, and that movie
Mm-hmm.
fucking rocks. It absolutely rocks.
Is that Gyllenhaal?
Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Yeah.
Cool.
The guy, like, he made that movie for $40 million and it feels like $150 million. Like,
Damn.
it is yeah. The guy knows how to make movies. He knows how to make action movies.
Well, maybe I'll watch it after this and get the taste out of my mouth. But anyways, no, just what's your final thought?
Yeah, look, maybe I'll close off so we can close off on a positive here. Why don't you give yours?
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like I've jibbed and I've jabbed and I've had my fun with it, and I'll never probably watch it again. But it's entertaining. It does its job. It's a little bit too long, but it, like you said, visually it pops. And one thing it doesn't sell short is like the action stuff. And it's like, you're going to see a Transformers movies. Don't come out bitching about fucking character and plot. Like that's just not. That's yeah. Could there be a Transformers movie like that? Yeah, sure. But like this for what it is, it what it's trying to do, it's extremely successful, and that's half the battle. So I do respect it for that, but I still stand by everything else I've said. Where it's like, yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of it, and just because it knows what kind of movie it is doesn't excuse the kind of low, like, the parts that are missing that are fundamental, like character and empathy and conflict and stuff. I would like to know why are the Decepticons bad? Just because they're bad? Like, what do they want to do? Like, why do they want to rule the world? Do they have a really good healthcare system? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of interested in that. And ultimately, like I said, you can't really go into a Transformers movie expecting that. But for me, it's a cocktail of style over substance, but the style does taste very, very good.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good point about the Decepticons. I think in the better sequels, like the Dark of the Moon, the plan for the Decepticons plan is actually kind of really good. It's like, obviously, because they miss their home, they miss Cybertron. They have no way to get to Cybertron, so they actually start terraforming Earth and actually bringing
Pulling us on.
Cybertron to Earth, like physically, like they're able to transport it to Earth, and they're trying to use
It's pretty cool.
yeah, and they're trying to use humans to rebuild it as kind of like slave labor. Um, yeah, I know. Blackout, am I right?
Don't laugh at that, Zoheb. Jesus Christ.
Fucking blackout. It's all Blackout, I'm telling you. It's Blackout's fault.
Have we thought about my work slave program? It's like, yeah, no, we're not going to go with that one, Blackout.
I have come to change my name.
Yeah.
He's at the fucking office. He's like trying to get his name changed.
It's just the N word. He's like, oh, come on. Like,
well, let me hear. We have a name randomizer. We've given you the N word. Who've given you master?
Yeah, we've given you all this awful, awful stuff.
Big Daddy came up as well. I don't know about that. It's a weird one. Yeah, man. Look, final thoughts. What can I say that I haven't already said about this movie? Other than it hit me at the right time, it will always stay one of my favorite movies of all time. I think there is no scene that really hits me like the Scorponok attack and the AC-130 coming in, the Predator, the UAV like spotting the fucking thing and everyone reacting to it, and they're all just like, "What the hell is that?" Like, it just hit me at the best time, man. And every time I watch this movie, I feel like that 13-year-old boy again. Like, it's it really just throws me back to being in 8th grade, having no problems other than fucking girls. And just kind of like showing my friends this fucking bonkers ass movie, man. Like you can kind of like look at the sequels and be like, yeah, but look at what it did to cinema moving forward. And I'm just like, I don't have that problem with this movie. I just don't.
Yeah. Well, and the thing, I hate that kind of argument. People like, it just lowered the bar.
Right.
And it's like, well, I mean, there has to be people to go to that bar for it to be lowered.
Right.
So
exactly.
like, if that's what people want, like, there's room for everything, I guess. And I might think it's shit, but one man's trash, another man's treasure,
That's exactly it. I think Michael Bay absolutely cooked with this movie. I think Steve Jablonsky's score in this movie is outstanding. It gets better because the score in Revenge of the Fallen is fantastic with the New Divide sort of themes in there. But then the Dark of the Moon score is outstanding. There's a freeway chase in that movie that, like, the score is outstanding. It's called Bridge, the theme. If you want to go check it out, go listen to it. It's got this awesome violins. Someone died on making that movie. making that scene. Like, yeah, there was like a huge like
Oh
head-on
wow, I
collision.
had no idea.
Yeah, something went wrong. There was like a cable that snapped. It was very huge back when that came out. Yeah, love this movie, man. I'm glad we got to cover it. Um, I'm tapped out. I'm
Yeah,
tapped
no,
out.
I feel you.
When you get
I
us out of here, man, because I
No, yeah. Well, hey, we talked for 2.5 hours about Transformers, and that's 3 hours longer than I'd like. Guys, I had to get one last one in. Guys, if you've made it this far, thanks for listening. Thanks for laughing at our stupid jokes. We appreciate you hanging with us all the way to the end. If you want to check out the show, we've got our socials in the show notes. You can find our Patreon, patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. We're about to go and record our episode of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. If you guys have been waiting this episode, greatly appreciate it. Your patience.
your
While we're
best.
getting
Losers always worrying about their best. Sorry, my bad. Wrong movie.
Yeah, out of nowhere. And we appreciate you guys being patient and waiting for the episode. If you were, please continue to support the show. Rate and review us on iTunes. It helps out a shit ton. Zoheb, I say we make like a tree and fuck off. What?
Let's go. See you guys next time.
All right, thank you guys for listening. See you guys. Bye.